Courtney, Conlog, Joanne De Fay. So those surfers in the lineup, they'll need you guys to cut it in shortly. Three surfers. We are now after the company. Return to the beach, all three surfers. Competition, Roxy Pros, winners round 2, about to start. Hello, 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 hello. Fitzgibbons, siren set, fire. Fitzgibbons, hello, hello. For those remaining three surfers, guys, we're going to you to remove yourself from the reef. We need Courtney and Joanna in the water only. The remaining three surfers, please return to the beach.
"25 years since last on the world stage, G-Land once again returns to the forefront of surfing. This is where the Dream Tour was born, where the jungle meets the sea. A location renowned as much for its legend as its perfection. For the first time ever, the Roxy Pro G-Land brings the best women surfers to the famed left-hander. Unsurprisingly, of all the surfers, only Kelly Slater has previous experience competing at the Quiksilver Pro G-Land. With the new condensed field, Championship Tour surfers arrive at stop number 6 ready to perform. The fight for the WSL Final 5 is on. This is the Quiksilver and Roxy Pro G-Land.
Well, welcome back to the Roxy Pro G-Land. This is stop number 6 on the World Surf League Championship Tour. Banyuwangi, Indonesia. Great to be back here in the jungle, in the national park, as our competitors get set to hit G-Land once again. Courtney Conlog slated to take on Joanne De Fay in Heat 2 of the elimination round. And as you can see, some very clean conditions on hand. Beautiful, long-running left-handers here at Money Trees. Ronnie Blakey joined by Richie Lovett. And Rich, it's been a time. It's been a lot of fun these last 6 days, but it'll be great to get competition back underway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the island fever's just starting to set in a little bit. The competitors are anxious to get back out in the water. And I mean, there's been some great sessions out there, practice sessions. We've seen some amazing surfers surfing go down. And it looks like the waves have cleaned up enough for us to get underway. So that's pretty exciting stuff. But looking forward to some action today.
Looks like you've really settled into life over here. Have you just come from ceremony?
Well, I'm just trying to, just channel all those colours of Indo. Still donning the traditional headwear of the Indonesian males. So, yeah, I'm just really settling into the groove. Getting quite comfortable, actually.
It's been a lot of fun. Obviously, there's been plenty of warm-up sessions. We've seen some great surfing, a couple of standout performers for me. Tatiana Weston-Webb still looking really comfortable out in this lineup. Felipe Toledo, saw him with some brilliance. Italo as well. I think we can expect big performances as we look to crown our champs here at stop number 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll add Connor O'Leary to that list as well. He's been surfing really well. And I've seen Sally put in some good performances and some great practice sessions as well. So it's going to be a really interesting round coming up and looking forward to it.
It's going to be awesome. Well, we know that we're going to see surfing underway. We saw surfers getting their jerseys on, but let's get the official word on what's coming our way here on day 6 with Laura Enever.
Yes, hello everyone. It's been a few lay days, long lay days, fun lay days. But Jessie, what are the conditions we have on offer and what are we running into today?
We've got some actually really fun waves. We've got a much lighter wind than we've had the last few days, and we've been watching for a while, especially with the higher tide. Now that we're on the other side of that, we're going to have this women's elimination round in the water, and then we have the expression session and the men's round on standby.
And unfortunately, we're going to be missing Tyler Wright. Can you touch on that?
Yes, so Tyler's entered the WSL COVID protocols, and so she won't be surfing today.
Wishing Tyler a speedy recovery, and looking forward to seeing the women in the water. Thanks, Jessie.
Thank you very much, Laura. So, disappointing news there for Tyler Wright. That means Bronte McCauley is going to be making that jump into the quarterfinals, where she'll meet Brisa Hennessy. But that's devastating. Tyler's been showing some great form this year, really showing her best down there at Bells Beach in a dominant performance over Carissa Moore in the final.
Yeah, and she was also very vocal about letting us know just how comfortable she is at the moment within herself, not only within her surfing, but mentally and physically, just feeling great in her own skin. And that's a bit of a warning sign, I think, when someone like Tyler gets in that zone and gets that feeling and starts to really click with her own performance. We saw it happen at Bells, so it's a big blow for her campaign, but I'm sure she'll bounce back and come back bigger and better than ever, but we wish her a speedy recovery.
We sure do. So let's get our focus on the heat out there in the lineup. Courtney Conlog taking on Joanne De Fay. What do you make of this one, Rich?
This is a really interesting matchup. The two natural footers, strong on the backhand, and I'm actually going to give this one to Joanne. I really like her chances out here, only because it's not that big, powerful, chunky G-land that we're going to see today. It's more of a down-the-line, fun type of break. And not to take anything away from Courtney's small wave backhand surfing, but I just think Joanne might just have it on the speed element. She might just be able to travel down the line a little bit quicker and fit those tighter backhand hooks in. But Courtney might prove me wrong with just that amazing power hack that she does have on her backhand. But it's almost a bit of strength versus finesse in this one, so it's a great matchup.
You might want to give it to Joanne De Fay, the edge. She's going to have to wrestle it away from one of the most tenacious competitors on the championship tour. I just loved Courtney's return to form. Going into the event down there at Bells Beach, she was in danger of falling off the CT in this back half of the year, but man, she really did save herself. A couple of big semi-final finishes through the Australian leg saw her jump all the way to 5th place, and now she's right where we expect her to be, potentially in line to make the final 5 at the end of the season. But Joanne De Fay, she was there last year. She's dropped to 8th on the championship tour. She hasn't missed the final series of a CT event this year, but as we know, quarterfinals just don't cut it, and that's all she's collected so far this season. You've got to get yourself in the semis. You've got to win events if you want to have a crack at a world title at the end of this season. Yeah,
it's a little different to the men's side. I guess the point spread is a little bit more condensed on the women's side, so you really do need to complement those quarterfinals with a final or a win. But just back on Courtney, I had a surf right up the top of the Kong section, right up the left-hand side of your screen just the other night, and it was when there was a bit of size, still a bit of wind on it, and gee, she was surfing so good, just coming really square off the bottom and just attacking the lip. So she'll be ready, and you can see their beautiful picturesque day that we have here at G-Land. A light, just sort of cross to onshore wind, but some great sets coming through. We had a surf earlier, and there's a little bit of energy in the ocean, and it's scheduled to pick up over the next few days, so we're excited about that. But looks like we have this heat up and underway.
We sure do, and it is going to be Courtney getting things started here. Gets a whole lot of speed. This wave's going to shut down, though. One thing that you can note about G-Land, and you can talk to it, Rich, is on the smaller days, if that wind's kind of howling, it's a very difficult wave to get in front of.
It's a super fast wave. When it's big, it breaks out on the reef a little bit better. It slows up. It gives you a chance to really position yourself and get into the rhythm of the wave. When it's small like this, it is tricky. You can fall into a pattern of just gunning down the line as fast as you can, and you'll actually miss sections. So it's going to be tricky today, and you can see here there's a couple little gaps in the reef there. And there's a number of different zones when it gets to this size. Way down the end at Speedies is sort of really not in the picture at the moment. This is out at the Money Trees Ledge section where I think we're going to see most of the action today.
Well, it looks like we may have a rider up at the moment. It's Joanne De Fay. She's found a bit of a corner here. Nice little swoop off the top, this wave. A better pace than Courtney's, and it's allowing her to get some turns done. Needs something major on the inside, though, if she wants to push this number a little higher. Just really looking to finish this one off strong here on the inside. Gets that board up there one more time, and she likes the feel of that.
She did like it. Well, I think it's in regards to an opening wave, I think it's right there. It's a good start. You could see Joanne was not really in, you know, 5th or 6th gear on that one. She was just staying in 4th gear, getting through the motions, making sure she was collecting points. And I do think it's going to be an okay score up around the mid-range mark. As we watch the replay here, just trying to get around this first section. Now it slows up for her. That first turn, nice and crisp, and the second. And you can see she's not overcommitting the board, always just turning the board enough and then staying in that down the line motion and getting a series of great turns all the way through to the inside. So really picking a great wave there to open up, and that series of turns must have felt really, really nice for her.
Yeah, I think anyone that's been warming up in the lead up to this second day of competition on what is day 6 of the event window has, you know, struggled to find those opportunities to get waves that really do allow multiple manoeuvres. So I think that's really what Joanne was celebrating there. And we're waiting on the numbers to roll through. 32 minutes to go here. Courtney opened up with just a throwaway score, 0.5. She's now assumed that priority on the outside. But positioning, as always, at any location on the CT, crucial. Here, a little bit harder to find your lineups. You're moving around. You've got to really seek out those landmarks here and make good note of them, because a lot of this stretch of coast kind of looks the same. Yeah,
100%, and it does help actually having the tower involved and some of the structures on land. You know, the camps that you can actually see from the lineup, and that comes with just spending a lot of time out there, and that's what all of our competitors have been doing over these last 3 or 4 days when we have had time to get out there and free surf, just working out the lineup.
Let's dive into the deep stats here. Powered by Hydro Flask, and as you can see, pretty even in the matchups. Courtney 4-3 has the edge over Joanne. Their last win, or the last heat, was at Sunset. And it was Joanne getting the victory there. She is trying to even up the ledger a little bit here. And we're waiting on that first score still to drop for the surfer representing France. But yeah, Joanne really accomplished 4 championship tour wins. And when you look at, I think, her best performances on the CT, it has been on those reef break left-handers. Fiji 2016, a victory. The completion of the Margaret River event at Uluwatu in 2018, she got the victory. And here we go, this is Courtney, and she's playing catch-up. Joanne's scores just come through at a 6.67. And it didn't look like Courtney was able to finish off that ride. So she'll likely still be chasing in the next 30 minutes once that score comes through.
And plenty of time, an extra 5 minutes on the clock as we watch the replay here. There's a nice snap to start things off for Courtney, and the second one backs it up and just mistimes that final manoeuvre there, just getting a little bit of an impact from the wave breaking under her board there. Just set her balance off, so not able to get to the completion on that manoeuvre. So the important score there, though, for Joanne De Fay, this is sort of setting the tone, setting the scale for this heat. That's why the judges took a little bit of time, and I think they kind of got it spot on there, Ron, that 6.67. I think that was a fair score for the work that she did on that ride. There wasn't anything overly critical and overly committed. It was just a really well-constructed, put-together ride from start to finish, and a great score warranted that 6.67.
Yeah, good surfing.
You can see there the flags there, just showing you the direction of the wind, and that's what, you know, we've had swell here over the last several days since we went on hold. This wind has been the problem, and it's actually been coming from more of a direction from the top right of your screen, directly onshore out of the west. And this is starting to creep down around to sort of that east and southerly direction. That's what we want. This is going to give us a better, cleaner platform, a canvas to work with these waves. The faces get nice and smooth. Even with that offshore wind, it'll slow the wave up a little bit. And as soon as it does go onshore, it tends to fold it down and make it even trickier and faster to ride. But, the wind coming from sort of around the back of the point at the moment, and it's supposed to get better and better through the afternoon as well. So good signs.
28.5 minutes to go. Just a 3 for Courtney on that second ride. So she's still after a 3.68 to get herself up into that #1 position. You think about these two competitors, they've got some pretty similar traits. You know, Courtney's obviously gotten right up there in title contention in the past. Joanne last year getting her first crack at a world title in the Rip Curl WSL finals, but both of them are, you know, very gutsy performers against big names. They're, you know, unlucky enough to be coming through an era where you've got, you know, two of the greatest ever just hogging all the world titles at the top there, and Tyler Wright hasn't made life easy either. But these two surfers always turn up. They always put in solid performances, and they've been good enough to wrestle victories away from those dominant forces, claiming all those world titles. And Joanne up at the moment, just looking to back up this 6.67. Again, just finding a nice pace wave that's allowed multiple manoeuvres, but not forcing it too hard at the moment.
No, she's choosing well, and as a competitor out the lineup at the moment, you are looking for those waves that don't have a stretched out line on it. They have a bit of a corner and a taper to them, because even those ones kind of reel off down the line. You can see here Joanne just comes a little bit harder off the bottom to get to that first and second turn. And you can see she's starting to dig into these turns a little bit deeper, with a little bit more power on this second wave. And again, just some nice rail work through the inside. So that'll be a great backup score. That's going to put a little bit of pressure on Courtney Conlog now. Still plenty of time on the clock, but Joanne's building. She's constructing a heat well and just starting to apply a little bit of pressure here.
Well, one of the fantastic exhibitions we can look forward to, in addition to the Roxy Pro and the Quiksilver Pro at G-Land this year, is the Quiksilver Icons of Surf Expression session. Luke Egan has found an unbelievable quiver of boards down there.
Well, here we are down at the Quiksilver original tent, and we have all the famous replica surfboards here, starting with the Terry Fitzgerald, the Sam Egan, I know this bloke, and the Simon Anderson, Peter McCabe, trade wins. Actually, happy birthday, Peter. Peter's birthday today, so this is going to be a great day for him to see someone ride his board in the expression session. Rizal's YU, and the 4-time world champion Mark Richards, famous twin fin design. And we thought we'd just throw Raja's board in just to show you a little bit of difference of what kids are riding today compared to what we have on the, you know, with all the retro boards. Things about half the size. And then this one here is a very special one, is the Jerry Lopez single fin. This is one of my favourites. Can't wait to see someone ride this one. And the winner of the expression session gets to pick whichever one of these beautiful surfboards they please to take home with them. So really looking forward to seeing some of the world's elite perform on some of the famous surfboards of the Indonesian area.
Amazing, Luke. And maybe keep Raja's board on hand in case you get any satay chicken stuck in your teeth later on. That thing is tiny. What a toothpick compared to all those brilliant shapes. But that is going to be a lot of fun to watch. The Quiksilver Icons of Surf Expression session later on. But during Luke's little run through of that incredible quiver, Joanne De Fay started to turn the volume up with the commitment there, Rich.
Yeah, she did. This is going to be an interesting score for Joanne, because this is a total contrast to what she's done on her first two waves that have actually scored exactly the same score of a 6.67. This is a different wave. It's a two-turn combo. It's a 1-2 punch, and the second one had some drama about it. So as we watch the replay here, it's a bit bigger wave. Look how square she comes off the bottom for the first turn. Gets a little bit of a fin drift on the first one, then straight into the bottom turn again. Now watch this wave try and knock her off here. Just slams on the bottom of her board, and Joanne just, well, she was winding the windows up for a second there, maintained control, got the balance, and that feeling, that special feeling as a surfer when you kind of, when you pull something off that feels pretty special, that feels dynamic and critical, that's when the emotion comes, and that's why you saw Joanne just giving us a little claim.
Also, when the scores come, 7.3. And don't forget, we've got the Roxy OMG Land Awards that will celebrate the best performances, best wipeouts, best commitment, and best emotion throughout the event. And I think I know what box that one ticked, Rich.
Well, that was all about commitment for me, and just, you know, it was dynamic, and it's the judges are sending a pretty clear message that they want to see those high impact, high risk, critical turns done in the most, you know, steepest and critical part of the wave, and they're going to get the bigger scores. So that's good news for Courtney too, because she is one of those surfers that has that bigger, strong turn that she can call on.
Yeah, it was more of a re-entry float, wasn't it? Really did pick her moment nicely there. Not a difficult move to complete on that end section, and you know, it does take some commitment because it gets quite shallow there. The tide's still relatively high at the moment, but it does take a certain level of commitment to stick that one.
Yeah, there's not really a consideration for, you know, the reef at the moment. There's enough water on it. They're not, the ladies out here are not really thinking, oh, you know, I've got to be careful. I'm going to run out of water here. They are in full attack mode on the end section, which is great. And the other thing I liked about Joanne's wave is just how quickly she got back on the heel on the bottom turn and was able to just steady that rail, get it engaged, and get straight back up into the lip again. So the judges noting the transition there, just how smooth and committed that was too.
Yeah, 22 minutes remaining here. And Courtney, she's got some work to do. Needs a two-wave total of 13.97. And really just with a couple of wave selection errors in the opening stages of this heat, and Joanne just able to flow away into a pretty comfortable lead with a couple of mid-range sixes. You know, the opportunity has been there to really start to build on this heat score, and as a result, Courtney needs two waves now to get herself in front.
There's something that you touched on earlier with both the ladies in this heat, is just how consistent they are. They're always dropping good numbers. You know, when they get in a heat, they're going to get their sevens and start building, get their eights. And Courtney in particular, you know, she's put down some gigantic scores, so she has that in her back pocket. But at the moment, the flow of this heat is all in favour of Joanne De Fay. She's in rhythm with the sets, and as a surfer, that's what you look for. You look to start getting into the rhythm, and that's when you know you're on and things are just happening for you. So, you know, Courtney needs to break that rhythm and somehow get in tune better with the sets here, and she's got 20 minutes to do it.
Yeah, you think about these two competitors and their results so far this season, and it says a lot about how important it is getting past those quarterfinals and getting yourself into those semis, because for Courtney, it's one of the worst ever starts she's had to a CT season, a 17th place finish at the Billabong Pro Pipeline, and then at Sunset Beach and the Hurley Pro, she had a 9th. So it wasn't a fantastic start. Since then, she's kind of caught fire and surfed her way back into a confident position. But I think, you know, there's probably definitely some scar tissue for her, and maybe some pressure as well, and just knowing that you can't afford to trip up here on in if you want to have a shot at a world title this year, because you're going to count all your results in the back half of the season. Yeah,
it does put a little bit of pressure on. If I was Courtney, I'd almost be trying to maintain that mindset that I took into Margaret River, where it was almost like, you know, every single heat is like the last heat I'm ever going to surf. And if she can keep that level, because she surfed so well in that event and also down at Bells, her surfing was so committed and it was with intent, and that's how she found her way back onto the tour, because she surfed that way, you know. And I just feel like if she perhaps went home and sort of took the pressure off and got into a situation where she relaxed a little bit, maybe that's not going to work for her. So I'd like her to just keep up that intensity and bring it all the way here for the last 20 minutes of this heat.
19.5 minutes to go. She's out there with priority. Looks like she's just trying to get herself well positioned. Maybe not for this wave though. Joanne has a look at it. You can see it's kind of stretched out, that wall, and it is going to shut down. So they're going to maintain their position on the outside here. Just over 19 minutes to go. Courtney Conlog needs a two-wave total of 13.97 as our competitors in Heat 3 get set to hit the lineup.
Surfer from Santa Ana. I grew up only surfing on the weekends. A lot of people don't realize that. I went to school Monday through Friday. I was a weekend warrior.
I love the aspect of like bringing people together through food and just sitting at a table and talking about life. And I think that's really enriching to me because I really believe like we're here for connection.
Small boat, island, perfect waves, millions of monkeys everywhere. When it rains or whenever the plastic flows down the river, these barriers stop the plastic from going over. The crew from Sungai Watch go and they collect the plastic and they recycle the plastic.
We Are One Ocean is a WSL initiative to inspire the global surf community to protect and conserve our one ocean.
At Sungai Watch, we're on a mission to stop plastic from going into the ocean by installing these very simple barriers in as many rivers as possible.
It's simple and it brings a lot of results.
It's super exciting for me to work with brands like Corona that are committed to our environmental impact.
Plastic pollution is forever spreading, so we need to clean our rivers if we want to clean the ocean.
We got to take care of our environment, we got to take care of the world, so it's awesome to see big brands coming up like the WSL, Corona, because if everybody does a little bit, it's gonna be big.
Courtney Conlog trying to get herself back into the picture here in heat number 2 of the elimination round of the Roxy Pro G-Land. And she is on her way, a good-looking wall, sending plenty of spray off the rail as she looks to finish this one off strong on the inside, driving up into the pocket. That is just what she needed with just over 16.5 minutes to go. Trying to claw her way back into the heat after Joanne De Fay dropped a number of solid scores to kick this one off. Ronnie Blakey sitting alongside a gentleman who competed here at the Quiksilver Pro G-Land and in 96 had a 10-point ride. Richie Lovett, what did you make of that last ride?
Thanks, mate. I love that last ride. And I think the crew downstairs having lunch did as well because the whole building started to shake then. They've got the screen down there and they were excited about it. I think it was the San Clemente boys. And let's see why, because look at watch the power here. This is the thing that Courtney has, and this is where she's going to be able to differentiate herself from Joanne, is just these power turns off the top. They just displace a little bit more water. There's more spray flying off the back of the wave here. She gets all the way to the finish. A tighter pocket turn to really put the exclamation mark on that one, but that's going to get her right back into this heat. Some vision there, everyone. Having lunch here just past 12:30 and well, keeping everyone fueled.
Yeah, waiting on those scores to drop now for Courtney, but she will easily break that combination. She's after a 2-wave total of 13.97 prior to that wave. So I think the requirement's going to be well within reach as we approach the 15-minute mark here. Been touching on these two competitors, just their tenacity, their resilience. They never back down in big moments. And that was an important ride for Courtney because she seemed a little frazzled in the opening stages after using, I think, poor wave selection on her opening ride and then falling on her second. That one's going to really, you can see already, she's zeroed in. She's got that focus back.
Well, we talked about rhythm, and I can feel a rhythm shift happening right now, and she's been able to do that by just being patient and using her priority very well and waiting for that one special wave to come through. And now perhaps in the back half of this heat it's going to be Courtney who has the rhythm. So it's talking to wave choice and how important that is, and Courtney showing a lot of experience there, picking an absolute gem and just surfing so well on it. You know, it didn't look like she was being tentative or holding back. She was really in attack mode. That was great to see, and I reckon the judges are going to love it.
I think Joanne, just hearing there from the announcer on the tower that the score has dropped at a 7.13. The requirement now is a 6.85. And all of the competitors, Rich, really aware of the fact that anyone can kind of turn a heat. I'm sure Joanne didn't feel like she had this heat in the bag at that point.
No way, no way. Not with a competitor as tenacious as Courtney Conlog, you know, and like you said, she just never goes away. She will fight to the absolute, you know, final seconds of a heat. And now this is well within range for her. You know, it's not as a competitor when you're sitting out there and you hear that you're in combination. It's a frustrating feeling. It never sits well with you, and you know you want to do your best to get out of it. And often it is a two-wave combination that you need. And she's done she's got the perfect exit strategy here because she's nailed almost matching Joanne's high 7.3, and she's just under that at a 7.13. So basically now it is coming down to the second scoring ride, and there's a little bit of chess match going to happen here with Courtney. She's going to have to try and push Joanne onto a wave here so that she can regain priority, and so she can take command back and really start picking another good wave.
Yeah, well, Courtney, when you talk about multiple victories on the CT, she's fourth in line at the moment. Or, with Sally Fitzgibbons, 12 CT victories. You know, so she has proven herself as an event winner at locations all over the schedule. But she had a concussion a few years back too, and it feels like that coming back from that was pretty difficult, and finding that winning formula again. So we'll see. Maybe she'll tap back into it in the back half of this year.
Interesting little tactical play here, and you can see Joanne had her lineup. She had her spot where she was happy and content to wait for another set. And Courtney's actually made her second guess her decision here by heading further up the point and going, this is not where I want to sit. I want to go up a bit further and try and get one of these deeper sets. And she's actually forced Joanne. She's pulling Joanne with her here. So Joanne just, by the nature of Courtney's strategy here, is maybe getting off her game a little bit.
Well, it blows my mind to think that we're here on the most populated island on Earth. But you just wouldn't know it, Rich. Here on the edge of the national park, on the edge of the jungle, it just seems so isolated. And we really haven't seen too many people. There is obviously a big local crowd here to work on the event and get behind the contest as well. But it feels like you're basically in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, absolutely. We are on the edge of a jungle here, and I can only imagine the pioneers who were, the early adopters of this place. It would have just been mind-blowing with, none of the scaffolding, no buildings, no nothing here. They were basically just camping out literally on the sand, and what an experience that would have been. It's changed a lot over the years. But yeah, it's a nice feeling being out on the edge here and being, well, we're not disconnected because we're streaming live, and, there is Wi-Fi here and you can make a call home quite easily, but it's still a remote location and it's a special part of the world.
Been fun to chat to some of those surfers that did come here in the early days. Tom Carroll was telling us that they ventured here, they'd pack some non-perishables and basically head into Bunyawungi and get their fruit and stock up. But once they went surfing, they'd often bring an Indonesian chef with them, and that poor guy had to guard the goods, the food, from the monkeys who would basically just swarm in, and there was nothing you could do, and you'd come in and the camp had been raided.
They're cheeky little buggers, those monkeys. They've been ferreting around the camps, and you've got to be careful. You can't leave any food out on the balconies, otherwise they'll come and get them. And we're really trying to keep our distance from them because they can be aggressive at times. There's the crew there just warming up while they're fueling up, and potentially we may see the men hit the lineup later on this afternoon.
Just under 10 minutes remaining here. Courtney getting herself back into the picture with that 7.13 on her last wave. Joanne De Fay still hanging on to the highest single ride of this heat so far and the lead. And Joanne desperate to make a charge up the leaderboard. She wants another crack at a world title. How do you like her chances this year?
Joanne, well, I think if she can keep that consistency up, I think she's got a good crack at it, actually, and I do like her chances at lowers. I think she's a great surfer out there, both forehand and backhand. If there was sort of one little Achilles heel, or I don't even want to call it a weakness, or maybe perhaps it's something to work on a little bit, is that aerial element. I think we're going to see that come into play in the finals of the women's side this year. We've seen it in the men's side, and I just know that all these women are working so hard on their air game, and they're starting to bring it into competition. And I was just chatting to Sally just the other day, just saying, you know, trying to get heats where you can take to the air and get those reps and get that comfort. It's pretty special, and she, among the others, want to really start digging into that element. But yeah, back to the question, I do like her chances, but she needs that big result. I think she needs that big breakthrough win in the back half of this year if she wants to make it up there.
8.5 minutes to go. You can see that wind still blowing, and it's coming from that west-southwest direction as we have a look at the Oakberry surf conditions here. Waves in the 3 to 5 foot range. And as you can see, still plenty tropical.
It is nice and warm today, and sun was out. We've had to deal with a bit of rain over the last few days, but it's looking okay. The next few days are actually looking very promising. So it looks like the swell is going to kick, and the winds will be favourable from early on tomorrow and through the next few days. So we're anticipating that we're going to have some decent waves.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be keeping track of it, but it's going to be a longer period swell, is that right?
Slightly longer, that's what we want. You know, the longer period swell means it's come from a further distance away, and basically the distance between the sets and the swell lines are a little, they're more powerful, more defined, they've got more energy in them. We call it a ground swell as surfers, that's how we reference it. And those periods do start to extend out into that sort of 14, 15, even 16 second mark in a few days, and that really marks some energy.
Well, great to have your company if you've just joined us. This is the Roxy Pro G-Land, and here is the recap of what's unfolded in this first heat of the day. It's actually heat 2 of the elimination round. Joanne De Fay kicked things off with a pair of mid-range sixes, and this was her first ride, and she felt pretty good about it.
She did. It was a great way to open up again. Smart surfing, very calculated in her approach. And 6.67 for that first one. And then she got this, the two-turn combination here with that really critical high-risk maneuver to finish off. But then Courtney, she found this little gem in the back half, and you can just see the power snaps just down the line, drawing the bottom turn out, picking that moment up into the hook, and just jamming it off the top. And then she gets to the finish of this one as well. Nice and clean, up high in the hook. And that got her that 7.17, got her out of combination, and now patiently waiting for another wave. It's time starting to put a little bit of pressure on this moment.
Rich, make some comparisons for me to the conditions that we're seeing here and the wave that Joanne grew up surfing on Reunion Island.
Well, Reunion's a fantastic wave, and you and I were actually watching some footage of it the other day to try and get that comparison. And it's a bit more down the line here at G-Land. Reunion Island tends to slow up a bit, and the wave really does grow down the line. It doubles or almost triples the size sometimes as it comes to the end section, and it wraps around the reef and comes back at you, whereas this wave, G-Land, is a little bit more horizontal down the line. It travels down the reef, and that reef is just so long. So you really do cover a really long distance when you ride these waves. Yeah,
we're talking about St. Lou, and what about for Joanne De Fay, the comfort factor surfing over a reef, a tropical reef?
Yeah, that's where the similarities are probably a little bit closer, and where Joanne would feel very comfortable here.
Here she goes, and she's going to get out of this one. Yeah, I think that all the competitors, you know, are out there. They don't show restraint, especially when the waves are a bit small like this and they've got that jersey on, but it's just that extra little level of comfort for someone that's probably come into contact with a lot of tropical reef and just taking their hits. Also, I think just the way you position your body underwater when you're exiting waves. If you're someone that's pretty familiar with surfing waves with consequences when you can fall, then you're just going to have a technique that sort of helps you avoid coming into contact with the reef.
Yeah, it's sort of exiting the wave a little bit flatter there. You know, she just did the pin drop there to punch through, as there is a bit more water on the reef at the moment. That's not a bad move. If she did that at low tide, there might be some other consequences going on there. But This one's starting to wind down, 4 minutes to go. Back to Reunion quickly. That's a really, really sharp reef, that one. It's a bit flatter out here, the reef. Not as, not as alive, I guess, in terms of the coral. A lot of fire coral at Reunion that can really take some bark off you if you fall, and it's super, super shallow there.
Courtney's a competitor that's had to find a comfort level in waves like that. Obviously, coming from the beaches around California there, Santa Ana.
I thought that was an interesting comment she made, that she was only a weekend warrior, and I sort of casted my mind back. I didn't grow up living right on the beach either. I had to catch a bus or ride my bike, so I didn't really get to surf all day, every day, and before and after school. And in a way, I feel like that sort of worked, because no matter what the conditions were, when you went to the beach, you went out, and there were other crew that maybe had it a bit easier, and they'd be like, oh, it's not that great, but that's the commitment. And I think we've seen that commitment with Courtney just all through her development and helping her get to where she is now.
Well, Joanne on that last wave, just a 3.83, didn't help obviously take that requirement any higher. So Courtney's got her opportunity out here now with priority, and we'll see if she can hold her nerve, as she has so many times in the past, even this season at those last two events, to get herself big heat wins. Just over 2.5 minutes to go.
Well, if Courtney does find herself another wave here and ends up turning this heat, then that priority move then by Joanne De Fay will be the mistake that cost her the heat, because she perhaps should have maintained priority there and tried to just sit this one out and potentially block Courtney. But what she's done is given Courtney a perfect chance here with just on 2 minutes to go.
What you've got to keep reminding yourself of is just the importance of progressing through these heats now that the competitors are hanging on to all these results. If you want a Final Five finish, losing out in the elimination round is devastating to your title campaign, and it could really hurt your chances. And that's what Courtney's facing at the moment. She's done so well to get herself back up into the conversation, into 5th spot at the moment. But if she drops the ball here, it's going to be devastating for her.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. But we know, she is one of the most mentally capable surfers and strong surfers on the tour. She just has that grit and determination. And well, we're down to 1.5 minutes here. So getting down to crunch time, and up to that point, Joanne had actually surfed a perfect heat pretty much in the way of rhythm and taking the right waves. And we'll wait and see here. We've got a minute to see if it's going to cost her.
A few different sections here on the reef. Rich, Kong's big indicator for what's coming your way down at Money Trees.
Yeah, absolutely. At the top of your wave there, you can see, and perhaps you're at home going, why aren't they up surfing that part of the reef? So that's called Kong's. That's the top part of the reef there. And as we mind surf that left-hander coming through the break. But the more, I guess, high performance part of this wave is down here where our competitors are sitting down on the Money Trees section. And there is a bit of a launching pad here at Money Trees that start things off. And the wave is just a little bit steeper here. It cups out a little bit more. You can come off the bottom a little bit harder and do some better turns. Yeah, there's definitely been some fun action up the top of the reef there over the last few days. It's a great warm-up spot, and it does indicate, you can see the sets hitting up there, and they sort of refract down the point. They can actually grow and hit. By the time they get down the point, they can actually be bigger.
Not seeing a whole lot of action out here at the moment as Courtney desperately goes looking for that 6.85. It feels like this one's going to come to a close without her getting the opportunity to chase down that score, even though there was enough opportunity in this heat. I think maybe positioning at the start has cost them a scoring ride. I think maybe Courtney's first wave, which she got stuck behind on, was potentially down the line a good opportunity to place a big number, but she's going to fall out of the mix. Joanne De Fay is going to progress. We're going to take a quick break and bring in Joe and Laura for the call right after this.
judge is going to be paying attention for speed, control, and also they're going to reward innovative and progressive moves.
Yep, let's get it in. Isabella Nichols in the lead.
I've surfed Newcastle pretty much like 7 years in a row. Kind of like really comfortable with how the wave works.
Here she goes.
Yeah, here we go.
Confidence is everything in surfing. Keeping it all together mentally, I think you can kind of manifest getting through heat.
That's sick. Isabella Nichols, she's got the lead over step. An amazing rookie performance in the making. You can watch Make or Break right now on Apple TV Plus and get the inside scoop on the world's best surfers through a dramatic season in 2021. Isabella Nichols is featured quite heavily. I believe it's episode number 3, where she goes into a deep dive of her personal life, her family, and what ended up being an incredible rookie year on tour last season. Fresh off a win at Margaret River in her second lap against the best in the world, and she's back in the water now, taking on Sally Fitzgibbons. Thanks for being with us, Joe Turpel, with the last champion at G-Land, the man himself, Louis Egan. Luke, we've had a series of lay days. Feels good to get this contest back on. It looks incredibly rippable out there today.
Certainly does. The tide's perfect. The wind's cooperated finally. We've been waiting around here for a few days just for that wind to do the right thing and go offshore in the middle of the day, and it sure has done it today. Smaller conditions, but even G-Land at this size is just so rippable.
Feels like just the traditional conditions that we haven't had have kept all the competitors honest. I mean, there's been a lot of down days. Thing is, they've been able to get their boards wet. There's been something to surf each and every day, but definitely putting the contest on at the right time. It looks so dreamy out there right now.
Absolutely, yeah. The Grudgigan Reef really needs the offshore wind to make it a makeable wave. Like everyone's, as you said, Joe, keeping everyone honest. You fly down the line when it's got a little bit of crumble. Gee, she's quick. We've been out there trying, and yeah, but today it's gotten clean and we're off, and I'm looking forward to this heat.
How's the energy in the free surf earlier today, anticipating the start this afternoon?
Yeah, all the surfers out there were just like, let's get this thing going. The wind's finally cooperated. Like, how was yesterday? It was overcast. We had a crazy storm, and I'd never seen those conditions here at G-Land, but we're back on the normal program where it turns offshore in the middle of the day and starts getting good all afternoon. We're back on track.
As we look at the conditions right out front, Isabella Nichols taking on Sally Fitzgibbons for a spot in the quarterfinals. Remember, it's a brand new heat draw with this new condensed field we're seeing for the first time. So surfers will be reseeded one more time after this round into the quarterfinals. First snap of this heat goes to world number 4, Isabella Nichols, attacking the whitewater section. 3 turns to get on the board quickly against Sally Fitzgibbons. As you remember, Bella made a final last year in her rookie debut over at your home court, Louis, at Newcastle. It was an impressive performance anytime a rookie gets that close to a major CT win.
Just shows how competitive the women lineup is at the moment. Like Isabella, I just feel like she's been surfing out of her skin, and it's just, you know, she's only made it past the quarters twice this year too after that great performance in Newcastle, but some really crisp off the tops there, keen to get it going. Keen to get a feel. It's been a few days since she's had the jersey on, so smart getting into that wave early.
Sally Fitzgibbons now with priority. Remember, the wild card for this event here at the Roxy Pro G-Land. Fitzgibbons, a longtime vet, just up and out. And we'll see how that affects the priority rotation. Straight back to Bella, and unable to get a completion here. And Isabella's going to take advantage of that, already completing a backside turn on her second ride. An absolute hack off the lip line for her second maneuver. Down towards the inside track and throwing a lot of power in that backhand snap. Great fundamentals and the intensity, putting pressure on a veteran like Sally Fitzgibbons.
Yeah, just getting another quick wave there. They've got plenty of time, but it's pretty smart to just feel it out. It's a different style of wave at this size. You really got to find where the power source is. It's a really quick wave, so you've got to stay high in the top half of the wave to get your speed. Beautiful swooping turn there, comes around one more time off the top and just gets around where the wave goes a little bit flatter and stays really patient to make sure she gets the timing perfect out of the lip to finish that one off.
Cool angle of her approach. You can see how much time she had to start off with that beautiful carve.
Yeah, and you know, you really got to pick those waves that slow down a little bit so that you can get around them and you can get some top to bottom maneuvers done, and Isabella certainly getting it right on that one.
Second scoring ride coming in for Isabella Nichols, enjoying her second year on the championship tour and still fresh off her first win of her career at Margaret River. And she kind of gave us signs that she was going to go all the way in the morning of finals day. She just had that look to her and that confidence that she was going to take this and run with it. And it was a dramatic finish. It kept her spot on tour, not just for the back end of the season, but also for the start of 2023. Her on the podium, it was really beautiful to hear her first award speech. You know, there's sometimes multiple champions. You get used to their energy on stage. For Bella, she was looking at the crowd and, you know, had those like light tears in her eyes, just knowing that everything was just getting better in her career on tour.
And now, you know, a good result here at G-Land. We're at the halfway mark. She could be heading for the final 5. She's certainly surfing good enough, and we know the winds, you know, carry those points enough to get, you know, they're definitely a keeper, and if she can get one more, she'd be definitely there.
Well, Luke, it's interesting bringing up the fight for the WSL Final 5. That's the big focus on the back end of the season. We just lost world number 5 from the last heat, Courtney Conlog. So that's going to create some space there. Bella Nichols, number 4 in the world. Sally Fitzgibbons down at 15th, you know, suffering one of the toughest years she's had result-wise, as she's often always in that top 5 picture, including last year, where she ended up finishing number 3 in the world.
Ironically, then dropping out of the top 10 and then going off to the Challenger Series at Snapper and getting herself a 3rd place. So, you know, maybe the pressure had just dropped and she went up there and had a good time, but certainly showing that she's still got the form to be here on the main stage.
The energy was wild, wasn't it, Luke? Especially when we got to the Australian leg of the tour, where it was very emotional and it was quite gloomy down at Margaret River, except for Sally, even with the position she was in. In every post-heat interview where she was reminded of her situation on tour, she took it on and said, hey, if I'm on the Challenger Series, I'll be there. It was never a question on rerouting her career. She's very engaged, and she wasn't trying to change any formats in her mind or wish it was this way or that way. It was really refreshing to hear Sally just take it on full steam, and look where it's got her now. She's a replacement wild card in this event for Caroline Marks, but she's officially back on tour full time at the start of 2023 with the wild card.
Yeah, and that's an interesting position to be in for Sal too. She's been on the tour for 14 years. I had a conversation with her during the week in this late day period, and I'm like, what are you going to do? You know, you're well earned getting a wild card for the start of 23. What are you going to do between now and then? You know, is it a rest for Sally Fitzgibbons? Is it just train as hard as she always does? And she honestly wasn't sure. And I just said congratulations, you know, 14 years on the tour. You've earned this little break if that's the way you want it to be. And yeah, she's got some thinking to do to see how she's going to treat the next 6 months.
Gabrielle O'Brien now preparing for Lakey Peterson coming up in the next heat. They're actually equal 6th on the rankings here at stop number 6 of the season. Lakey Peterson made a final earlier this year at Super Tubos in Peniche, Portugal. And now with Courtney just bowing out, that spot in the final 5 is wide open. Leaky only surfing in 2 events last season. Had to withdraw on the beach at Narrabeen after some severe back pain. Great to see her back and fired up. She's been hanging here in the jungle for quite some time now and really getting acclimated with this wave.
Absolutely, and you see even on the down days, everyone just walking up to Kongs and doing a lap through the surf, even on the marginal days when this wave can be so difficult to ride because it's such a fast wave. Even when it's offshore, should see it when it's onshore. So, you know, but if you keep lapping every day and just do your cycle, once it does come offshore, you really know which parts of the reef, even though it has been onshore, once it's clean like today, you know the bits of the reef, you know where the sets, they swing in from round kongs, you can see them a long way out there, but you still got to spend some good time in the water to know which sets are going to go where.
As you can see, the judges' tower right on the reef there. You can see that at events like in Tahiti or Fiji in the past. The judges take a boat ride out there in the morning to check the conditions. They're there for every call until that decision is finally made. Always 5 judges on the panel and during every heat, and they drop the high and the low. And oftentimes it's also a gauge for the surfers on their lineup markers, what part of the reef they're on. Surfers talk about getting so used to a tower in the lineup when they go visit that location when the tower's not there. They said they could feel a little bit lost at times.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you want to get some landmarks as well as the tower. And I surfed this morning, and it did bring back some memories of trying to line up with stuff. And you're so far from the land that you really got to be accurate with your lineups, because you could be sitting there, but you really got to eye them in. There's a distance shot there. The land's a long way away. So, you know, you've got to be pretty perfect on what you're lining up with to be on the right part of the reef. It's a huge playing field we have here. But, yeah, you get the right one. Oh, my goodness.
This size of the surf today, is it harder to find the spot to sit? At the moment, we saw Sally kind of take off deep and kick out. Is she kind of trying to find her place in the lineup right now?
Yes, and we have a huge tide here too. The tides are massive, so it changes with the tide. So between the left side of the tower, you can see on your screen to the right side, we're going to see surfers. So just say from where the buoy is to down right off the screen to the right, that's going to change all day to where these guys are going to surf, and it's all going to be tide affected. So you really got to keep an eye on what's going on. You have to have done your homework the last few days to see which part of the reef's going to break. Even though that's money trees on your screen right now, it still swings the swelling into different places and gets shallower at different tides. So that's where the wave's obviously going to be steeper, and that's where you want to be.
Luke, as you've been walking around between the camps the last few days, a lot of surfers have been coming here now for maybe the first time or the second time. Have they been bugging you about your lineup markers from back in the day? Have they been constantly asking you advice on where to be at the right time?
Yeah, I have had a few people asking me tips and stuff about the wave, and yeah, it's been a pleasure to hand over that information.
As we have a look at Sally Fitzgibbons, looking for her first turn of the matchup. Nice snap to start for Fitz. Jams it vertically on the section, a 2-turn combination. And that'll put her right into the heat. Isabella's best so far, 4.0. Fitzgibbons famous for some big wins in her career on that speedy backhand of hers. Let's take another look, Louis.
Yeah, really smart by Sal just to stay right in the pocket here and not try and race the wave down the line. Gets a beautiful first turn and gets a great closeout maneuver. And I just think that was super smart not to race down and try and beat the wave. That happens a lot here. People just think that you've got to finish the wave, and you get all the way down the line and you haven't done anything. You just got to stay in that pocket, get some nice turns done, and that's exactly what Sally did on that wave.
Sally Fitzgibbons has given us so much entertainment. One of the best careers in pro surfing history, as she's always been in the hunt for a world title ever since that first year on tour, where she ended up finishing in the final 5 way back when, lost out on Rookie of the Year by 1 spot to Coco Ho as the tour was changing dramatically with high performance. But thinking about the deep stats powered by Hydro Flask for Sally Fitzgibbons, she has 12 championship tour wins, equal with Courtney Conlog with the current surfers on tour. The only surfers above them on the win list that are full-time on tour are the world champions like Steph, Tyler, and Carissa. Last win for Fitz came last year when we went over to Rottnest Island in Western Australia, and we keep referencing that incredibly busy but productive year for Sal. Moving through a lot of events to make sure she was qualifying for the Olympic Games, which she achieved, winning in Rottnest, winning in El Salvador, and also showing up to finish 3rd in the world. One of her favorite years of her career just happened last season, and it also reminds us how she still has so much left in her career in pro surfing.
Yeah, and I've seen so many reinventions of Sally Fitzgibbons over the years too, whether it be a board change or a technical way that she surfs change, always improving, always open to change things up, and I think that's why she's had such a long, great career.
What's your opinion on that, Luke? I mean, some surfers will kind of live with one shaper throughout their career and all the way through retirement. Some surfers have significant changes like you're referencing with Sally. What's the benefit of the Sally role, of mixing it up throughout her career?
Well, you can freshen up your approach, you freshen up your surfing, and a point of difference from if we had the same Sally Fitzgibbons all the time, the judges, they're going to see the same thing time and time again. So whether it be a board change or Sally working on something technical and changing her, the lines she's drawing into different parts of the wave, or, I know that she worked a lot on her upper body at one point there to bring that nice swoop around and make it tight. Just all those things that Sally's been working on. She comes back fresh, and the judges do take note and realise the work that's been put in and reward it.
It's interesting how some shapers who have solid deals with their athletes will actually have a little bit of wiggle room so they can try something else real quick and come back with that kind of feedback to make better equipment for the rest of the season. Let's catch up with the winner of the last heat, Joanne De Fay, with Dimity Stoyle.
Wow, Joanne, an amazing start. We've had a long wait for competition to get restarted again, but we could tell through your energy from the very first wave that you were feeling it.
Yeah, Dimi. We have a lot of energy in stock. We've been doing nothing for like 3 days, so definitely I was like exciting to get in the water and like start moving again. At the same time, pretty stressed. I was like, oh my gosh, like it was really hard to do the call. Like I felt like I've been a bit more involved in the call this event and trying to see how it's working, and it's just really hard. Like you're trying to predict the unpredictable, and I think today, this afternoon is a good call, so I hope the girls can get some opportunities.
Yeah, that's surfing, isn't it? And you've been in Indo for a couple of weeks now already, and are you starting to feel that jungle fever, or you just, you're loving your time over here?
I do go a little cuckoo right now. It's been a while. I've been definitely fried by the sun and attacked by the monkeys, but and getting over fried rice too. But it's also been really cool, and I think that event where everybody stay at the same place, it's really kind of make us go more, like share more moments, and it's something that I look for sometimes, because we always like little bubble in surfing and trying, you come with your people and you stay at your place, and so it's really cool to actually share that time.
Yeah, definitely. It's been such a nice vibe watching everyone stay together and surf and rip. So good luck, Joanne. Can't wait to watch you in the next round.
Thank you, Dimity. Joanne De Fay into the quarterfinals, came into this event number 8 in the world, so moving closer into that WSL Final 5 position that she was in at the end of last season. A very consistent year for Joanne De Fay. She's actually had all quarterfinals all year long. But even with that consistency, a quarter at Margaret River, she actually dropped 3 spots on the rankings. So I think she's probably feeling now she's ready to be on a podium. And it could happen here at G-Land since she's got an incredible backhand attack. At the moment, Isabella Nichols still leads over Sally Fitzgibbons. Sally just chasing a 1.84. We'll be right back.
We're the WSL. We travel all over the world, chasing the best waves and surfing the nicest beaches. But we don't just surf. We're also doing our best to protect the thing we love most by restoring coasts, stopping plastic pollution, and reducing climate impacts. We know we're not the only ones trying to save the ocean, so we want to hear what you're up to. Use hashtag #WeAreOneOcean and tag WSL to share your sustainability story.
Here in Indonesia, we are celebrating our We Are One Ocean campaign that's restoring coasts, stopping plastic pollution, and reducing climate impacts. This year, as we get closer to World Oceans Day, which is June 8th, and the month of June, which is World Oceans Month, we're using our platform for good, and we want to hear what everyone is up to. So share your sustainability story using the hashtag #WeAreOneOcean and tagging @WSL. Together, we are one ocean. And it happens to be Luke Egan's favorite place to spend his time, right in the water, especially here in this beautiful part of the world, East Java, Groningen Bay, the place that really solidified the idea of the Dream Tour back in the 90s. You win in 97, special, but you had an instant connection with this place back in 95, making the semifinals with Kelly Slater. Have you had a chance to relive that one with Kelly this week?
I had a great surf. It was actually my first surf when I got here with Kelly, as we see up and riding.
Nice little snap to start, carving through that inside section, little wall for Sal to find the lip again for a backhand float. Quick little redirect in a tight space. Smaller wave there, only needed a 184, she'll get the lead.
Super smart. Didn't have priority then. And yeah, as you said, just a small score. And just needing to get the pressure put on there, the 5.83 for those great last two turns on the previous wave. Now she can get back out there and see if she can better this wave. A small wave, but the tide is going low, so this wave stays pretty steep right in the pocket. Some nice turns, get some speed. You can see how shallow it's getting there on that float, and just smart little finish. So just a quick wave under there to take the lead for sure.
With all of Sally's wins and accomplishments over a stellar career, is there one venue or one win that stands out the most for you, Luke, when you think of Sally? Or does it kind of just come down to overall performance with her longevity on tour?
Longevity, like the win in Western Australia, Rottnest Island. You know, when you've been on the tour for 14 years, your last win is the best one, I think. So, you know, and as we said before, Sal's just reinvented herself so many times, and she's still there taking on, you know, the newcomers, the other girls that have been here for a long time. And yeah, let's see what brings for the next few months for Sal.
I suppose Sally went through like what Isabella's going through right now in real time, of being the new generation, you know, still really young, starting to win events. She's the higher seed in a matchup with the veteran Sally Fitzgibbons. So it's interesting to see this clash of different generations, you know, where Sally is still completely relevant. And with all of her experience, she knows the mental psyche and how to prepare for big heats. She's done it so many times. So experience on Sally's hand, a lot of wins with her longevity. But one thing I've noticed about Bella is confidence well beyond her years. She's got this strong belief in herself that she will be a world champion one day.
Yeah, definitely, and she works so hard, and her surfing reflects that. She's surfing so well, but it's you know, that's why we're here. That's why these events are so great to just sit back and watch, because you've got all the experience, you've got the enthusiasm of the younger surfers, and put them all together in a perfect playing field like G-Land, and we've got fireworks.
A woman known as the Sea Tiger is hanging out with Dimity Stoyle.
I'm down here in the Rebel Athlete Zone. I'm here with Courtney Conlog. Unfortunately, a slow start for you in that last heat. You managed to fight back with a really nice 7.13. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I truly thought G-Land was going to serve me more opportunities. You know, I've been out here every morning, every day, multiple times, putting in the effort, and, you know, had priority at the right moment at the end. It just didn't work out, you know, and now I got to prep for El Salvador, reset, and get all fired up. You know, my equipment's feeling amazing. I feel really good. It's just, it hasn't worked out right now.
You're looking so strong. We're all really excited to watch you over in El Salvador. But how's your time been over here in G-Land in Indonesia?
Gosh, I love it. The first day I got here off the boat was probably the best surf I've had in a long time on a left-hander, and just what this wave can do is incredible. And obviously we all wish it was that, but these are the conditions that actually kind of, I know it sounds funny, but it felt like Southside Huntington, but warm. And I was like, at least it's warm. But, you know, I'm washing this off, and I learned a lot here, had a lot to take away, and, you know, you only grow through these moments.
Thanks so much, Courtney. Good luck. Can't wait to watch you for the rest of the year.
Thanks, Shimmy Disco. Do. Yeah.
Still willing to laugh after a tough loss, as she'll share that moment with Shimmy Disco. That's Dimity Soils' other name when she's performing as a DJ around the world. She's always the queen of fun and good vibes, no matter where we go. So that'd be a nice, happy face to talk to after a heat loss. You know Dimity's going to make you smile. Looking at the heat, though, Luke, I mean, we're kind of feeling out what it's like to have this new condensed field. Joanne, Courtney, that could be a final. And we got to see that incredibly early in the elimination round. Now Joanne evens it up 4-4 in all-time heats against those two. And on a left, Joanne's accomplished a lot. So it was not an easy heat. Courtney should hold her head up high because she surfed incredibly well.
She did. She surfed so well. Her 7.5 was incredible and just ran out of time. You know, this place can go quiet on certain tides, and that's what happened for Courtney, unfortunately. But I tell you what, she looked red hot. Some of the turns on that 7.5 was amazing, and I'm sure she's going to push hard and be successful in events to come.
Feels so early to talk about adjusting already to move to surfing the other way on a right-hander in El Salvador. We'll see what Courtney does if she wants to stay in paradise a little bit longer. What would you do, Luke? These next couple of events are so abruptly back-to-back, like never been done before. Would Courtney just need to get out as soon as she can and maybe get a jump start on the rest of the tour before everyone gets in town?
There's a lot of options in Indonesia to go and maybe surf some more and tune up, and I'm sure there's going to be events around here in the future. So I'd stay and surf a bunch and get ready to, you know, get ready for El Salvador here, unless there was a swell coming over there and you could get there a little earlier than everyone else and it'd be a little less crowded. So looking at forecasts is probably the first thing to do, but I'm a fan of Indonesia.
It feels really good to be here. Hard to leave this place. Joanne won the last heat. She talked about, you know, going a little bit cuckoo throughout the days, because the days can feel really long as you wait for calls and standing by and try to avoid the monkeys that are going after you.
And when you're the first heat of a 5 or so day call and you've got to be there, you know, you get up 5 times like I could surf. And then how many times have we been on hold in the last 5 days? Maybe 10, you know, so she's been ready every single time there's been a new call for this event. So that does take it out of you, and it's relieving to win those ones, you know, when you've just been doing all the right things for 5 days and make sure you're ready for every call you could be on, and you're checking the conditions constantly with the crew making the call, and yeah, so that's you know, relieving win for sure.
4:40 on the clock here. Sally Fitzgibbons and Isabella Nichols enjoying the water. It's all about Sal at the moment. Backhand float, just a single maneuver option. She took that small wave a few minutes ago, turned it into a 3.23. She's got the best number of the heat of 5.83. After a slow start, took off deep on one. Bella established herself, and Sally's flipped this one on the young surfer from the Sunshine Coast. Down to 4:10 remaining. Up next, Lakey Peterson will have Gabrielle O'Brien in heat number 4. As this theme of the Battle of the Backhands continues, there's always been talk for many years about having a performance left on tour. And G-Land has a lot of different shapes and sizes. What's the funnest part of surfing G-Land at this size, Luke?
I think as the tide goes out right now and the wave actually gets a lot steeper, so you can generate your speed a lot easier down the line. Yeah, you know, it's so fun as long as it stays clean. the wave is so fun at any size, and yeah, so it's fantastic. We just need those winds to cooperate, and it's game on.
I suppose the first visions you think when you just hear the words G-Land, you think of huge barrels and speedies. However, during the free surfs, one thing I've noticed is what a big ramp this is for people that have a solid approach in the air. I've seen some of the best airs I've seen all season, from E to low, huge straight punts. Jadson went upside down on a crazy flip rotation and stomped it perfectly. It's something that Sally works on quite a bit. She's thrown a lot of different types of airs in the last few seasons on tour.
And I think what allows these guys to get that such height is what we've seen in the aerials in the free surfs, is you can wind up for about 3 sections. lip glide to just massive air, as we see finally priority being used.
Isabella Nichols staying incredibly patient, and she will throw that one away. So a misread on her wave selection, and she will stay in second, chasing a 5.07.
And this is what we were talking about earlier, Joe. You've got to know where the best takeoff point is going to be when the tide changes, as we see Sal up again.
Sally not wasting any time. Snap to start. Off the bottom. Clean backhand turn. She's a little behind. She'll just throw a little tap in. She's keeping the energy nice and high here in the afternoon. Down to 2 minutes. More pressure on Bella Nichols. Fresh off her win at Margaret River. Currently world number 4. Is in a bit of trouble. She's up again and stepping off. A little bit too deep once again.
A little too deep just to get, again, and maybe the surfers need to move down the reef just a little bit. As we've spoken about this whole heat, tide is so important to know what it's going to do and how it's going to affect these waves, and it does change all the time.
Down to 90 seconds in the matchup. Fitzgibbons waiting for her last score. She tries to better a 3.23. Priority still not established yet, as they're trying to get back into the takeoff zone. If Sally can earn first priority, that would be devastating for Bella. It goes to Bella with 1:15 to go. Doesn't have a lot of time, but she's got a chance, chasing a 5.67.
A couple of lumps in the water there too, Joe. She hasn't really picked the right wave on her last 2 attempts. So hopefully she's repositioned on the reef and in an area that's going to give us some more opportunity.
Sally Fitzgibbons will be receiving points on the rankings for this performance as she locks into this one. Gem of a wave, big open wall, snap to start for Sally. Big vertical on a bigger section for a solid 2-turn combo.
Yes, Sal's read has been near perfection on this heat. She put the pressure on to Isabella early after getting that 5.83, and then she's just been trying to chip away to get to replace this 3.83. And I think she's a little bit further down the reef, and just smart not to want to race away on those waves and just staying in the pocket and just getting vertical a couple of times. I think she's going to replace that score and make it even harder for Isabella as we're nearly over.
We have just run out of time here in heat number 3 of the elimination round, and Sally Fitzgibbons has done a stellar job eliminating current world number 4. Bella, fresh off the win at Margaret River, out in the elimination round here at the Roxy Pro G-Land. Last number for Sal will be her best of the heat, peaking at a 6.0, and she'll be reseeded now into the quarterfinals. Great job there, recovering that heat, took off deep, recognized it at the opening stages, and ended up putting Isabella away. Things continue here in the elimination round. Up next, Lakey Peterson takes on the rookie Gabrielle Bryan right after this.
When it rains or whenever the plastic flows down the river, these barriers stop the plastic from going over. The crew from Sungai Watch go and they collect the plastic and they recycle the plastic.
We Are One Ocean is a WSL initiative to inspire the global surf community to protect and conserve our one ocean.
At Sungai Watch, we're on a mission to stop plastic from going into the ocean by installing these very simple barriers in as many rivers as possible.
It's simple and it brings a lot of results.
It's super exciting for me to work with brands like Corona that are committed to our environmental impact.
Plastic pollution is forever spreading, so we need to clean our rivers if we want to clean the ocean.
We got to take care of our environment. We got to take care of the world. So it's awesome to see big brands coming up like the WSL Corona. Because if everybody does a little bit, it's gonna be big.
You're watching the first ever edition of the Roxy Pro G-Land. Will be crowning a women's champ for the first time in surfing history here in East Java. Thanks for joining us here in the booth, Joe Trappell, Luke Egan, and now hanging out with us, Laura Enover. Laura, so days.
So good to see you, Joey. We're neighbours. We see each other most days, the last few days.
That's true, yeah. I saw you a few minutes ago.
That's the camp life. We're all very used to seeing each other now at breakfast, lunch and dinner around the tables. It's been, what a vibe here at the camps at G-Land. I can't get over how cool it is being here in the jungle. It's
so true. It's special. Camp vibes, I mean, you're familiar with the vibe on Tabaru Island where you had your 10, by the way. But yeah, you're all in close proximity. It's not like you've got to find out where everyone's staying to get together. Whether you like it or not, you're sharing every meal together, and it's a special experience.
Yeah, there's no escaping anyone on the island. I found that with my tour vlog, just, run around. It's pretty easy to find everyone, get the camera in the face and get some good content. And, I think at the end of the day, everyone's just, having an awesome time, like Joanne said in her interview, seeing everyone and just having those memories and making those memories.
Awesome, Laura. Well, we got some catching up to do quickly. Gabrielle O'Brien got this wave during the break, Luke.
Wow, what a takeoff. Haven't seen Gabrielle on a backhand yet, so this is the first time. I was impressed with that late takeoff and still being able to make the wave. Smaller wave, but she's off and racing, so fantastic.
Interesting that she's the last rookie standing. From all that we had at the start of the year, Laura, I mean, what's been really standing out to you the most about what Gabrielle has done this year?
Yeah, so many things that Gabby's done this year has just been blowing me away. I mean, at Margaret River, she jumped from 11th place up to 6th. And when I told her after she got second in the final that she was in 6th on the ranking, she almost fell over. She's the rookie. She's one of the Groms on tour, and she's just come out of the gates firing. We've seen her in these big, open water, big right-handers just go to absolute town and take down all the top girls. And so, yeah, like you were saying, this is one of the first times we'll see her on her backhand. And yeah, we've seen her at Sunset, Irasira, Margaret River, Haleiwa just do some absolute damage. I know she's probably hoping it was a bit bigger out here today, but yeah, good to see her on her backhand today.
Such a hard worker. When she qualified, I wanted to know a little bit more about her. Reached out to some friends on the island of Kauai, and they're just like, oh, there's no surprise that for them that she's made the tour. They see the hard work every day, see her in free surf sessions, and obviously they have every type of wave you could ever want on that beautiful island. So she was so well prepared as she's leading right now over Leaky with just a 3.17. Let's get a chance to get an update with a call. Jesse Miley-Dyers with Dimity.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Yes, apparently we've got an update.
Yeah, we do. So we're not going to go into this men's next round. That means that we're pretty much 100% going to run that men's next round tomorrow. We are going to do the Quiksilver expression session. So it's a pretty nice afternoon. Been really happy to get these heats done of the women, and we're gonna go into that.
Awesome. Is there any spare boards for you and me?
No, probably not. I mean, maybe for you. I've got a couple here myself, but I'm a spectator now.
Awesome. Look forward to it. Thanks, Jesse.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tim. Yeah, we want to get boards for all of you out there in that Quiksilver Icons of Surf expression session. So that's official. That'll be coming up right after this, and we'll get to see some amazing types of surf craft that are a part of G-Land surfing history here, and one that's incredibly close to Luke Egan's heart. I know you were down there earlier, Louie, checking out all of those incredible surfboards. What would you be pulling out to go for a surf today?
Well, I'd get in trouble off the old man if I didn't pull out his board, wouldn't I? So there it is right there, getting tuned up for the expression session. The boys putting leashes on him down there. But you know what? Going through all these boards, how fantastic it is that these master craftsmen of our sport are still alive and well and making beautiful surfboards. I just think it's incredible that the Mark Richards there is a masterpiece, the Jerry Lopez, the Peter McCabe, the YU. Look at Steph. Steph's just picking her weapon of choice right now. They're all beautiful surfboards, and what a pleasure. And I just think it's so respectful to have, you know, all these shapers would be at home buzzing, watching these guys grab the boards and get out there, and they're going to rip on them, I have no doubt.
So cool seeing the Jerry Lopez there. The Jackson Baker looks like he's got his hands on. The YU is a replica of a Rizal Tanjung Road as a wild card back here in the 90s, where he did get a perfect 10-point ride. And we've obviously been hanging out with Rizal last few days. He was so thrilled that the board that he rode will be in this expression session. And Laura, I know now, I mean, now that you've kind of moved on from the championship tour, I see you show up with twin fins these days. For seeing these touring professionals, it's really fun to see them on a different craft, draw different lines, because we're so used to them being on their hot rods for competition.
For sure. I mean, I think it's just so important, and I think a lot of, you know, people that are competitors and just always riding high performance boards, when you get onto something, you know, totally different and take those different lines and try different, you know, whether it's twin fins, you know, single fins, everything, it's playing, and it's just, I guess, expressive and just fun, really. So I think it's so important. Steph's always, you know, traveling with her boyfriend Harry, who's got his finless board too, so, you know, always having a bit of fun on that. She was like fluffing around in the shore yesterday.
It's interesting. I mean, Luke, when you were competing for world titles, did you mix it up at all, or did you not allow yourself to ride alternative type equipment? As we hold that thought for a moment, waves right in front of our face here. Gabrielle O'Brien jams the first section. Nice, complete two-turn combination. Only needing a .24 to take the lead off Lakey Peterson. So scrappy little heat, smaller conditions. A nice, healthy two-turn combo from the rookie, Luke. What'd you think?
Yeah, pretty nice. I think she's taking, after watching Sally, she's trying to stay busy. 317 on a first wave, and I think this one will be better. Taking her time, coming out the lip really nice, and realizing the wave is going to race off on her, so she gets up into the lip one more time. And, you know, it doesn't take much down the line to get some points here if you do turns like that one we see on your screen at the moment. We saw Sally just straight up and down, come off, and what the judges like is that transition between turns to be straight off that rail and back up as we see red into a great one.
Lakey Peterson from Santa Barbara, California, float to start, deeper off the bottom, crushes a big section. Solid windup and nailed it with authority. Peterson has been incredible in her last few years on tour, officially putting herself as a world title threat back in 2018. And it was an interesting opening year for herself. When she first qualified, she won the US Open. At the time, that was a CT event. And then 5 years went by without a big major victory. All of that's changed. As we take another look here, Luke, what'd you see?
Beautiful little lip glide into this turn, pulling it super tight, probably seeing it's going to run away. So she's just trying to get the maximum points and putting a lot of power into that backhand turn out of the lip.
Laura, maneuver-wise, what feels good for you? You're a regular footer. This is on your backhand. You've obviously had a lot of great success with your backhand attack. As you look at this wave, what do you see with the fun factor out here?
Oh, it's so much fun. I mean, you know, I mean, from what I've seen so far, you can get so many different days and so many different, you know, faces of G-Land. You can get these fun days and the fun running lefts where you can just unload and do a bunch of turns and race down the line. And then, you know, to get it on those big days, Leaky was here. You know, she's been here for 2 weeks. She's been in Bali. She was here for that big swell. And when I was talking to her in the lineup, she was saying that, you know, that got her blood pumping. It was actually really, really big 8 to 10 foot faces just before, you know, the event started, and she was stoked to be here and you know, get her, you know, her claws into the wave like that. So I mean, she knows this wave at you know, 8 foot, and now obviously here they've all been surfing, getting to know the wave the last few days.
Well, it's interesting, Laura, because I think we're constantly celebrating goofy footers getting to go left. But what about natural footers with their backhand attack? I think we always talk about, you know, Caroline Marks, Tatiana Weston-Webb, who's got the best backhand on tour because of the waves that we're always surfing.
Totally.
Who do you think is going to emerge out of that conversation for the regular footers?
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. I mean, when I think of who I would say has one of the strongest backhands on tour, it would have to be Joanne De Fay. She's just come out of the gates at Fiji and everywhere and just shown that she's got like one of the most deadly backhand attacks. And actually in saying that though, Leki, she's put on some incredible performances this year on her backhand at Portugal. She came back in that heater in the semi-final against Steph. It was only, small lefts over there as well. So I think she's just been doing a lot of work as well.
Yeah, very cool call with Joanne De Fay, famous for winning a lot on her backhand. She won earlier today, eliminating Courtney Conlog to move on. Any similarities you'd make to a reunion island on a day like today, Luke? Or is it dramatically different?
It's pretty different. The first bit of the wave and reunion is similar to this, but then it slows up and then does it like a bend back at you, which we don't have here. It's just constantly down the line. But yeah, it's a great wave. One thing that's pretty interesting to talk about is the paddle. You really have to paddle hard and have an explosive paddle to get into a wave just like this one.
As we see the setup, bottom turn and a nice snap to start for Gabrielle O'Brien. Hammers it again out in front. Nice sweep back into the pocket, back to the lip. She's got so much power. Doesn't matter if she's going right or left. It looks like she lost control though on the final move.
Unfortunate there, falling on that last move. Could have been replacing that 317. She probably will still replace the 317. And what I was talking about before is when it's this small, you really got to have an explosive paddle, and it can make the difference of what kind of first turn you end up with. As we see off the top was a beautiful turn through the lip, great slash, and then just the wave slows down a little bit, but her transition turns were perfect to get that one out of the lip. And just here, she just catches an edge, and unfortunate. But really like that turn up into the lip, and her transition turns were really nice through these flatter sections, and she arrives really smooth to get it into the lip one more time and finish off, and just a bit of an error at the end.
Laura, I believe you went left when you won your World Junior title. I guess my big question is, though, when you perform backhand, is it easier for you to get out of your head as far as performing?
I mean, for me, I grew up at North Narrabeen, which is a left, and kind of always loved going left more than right, which is really random. Most people would be like, no, I hate my backhand, but no, I've always, gravitated towards going left. Love Fiji, and yeah, any left-hander really. But I think, for someone like Gabby, I just love how tight in the pocket she is, and her transitions and her timing. I think I just find it really fun.
Really fun. 20 on the clock here as we stand by for the update. Gabrielle O'Brien, 4.87, did improve. Now let's hear from Sally Fitzgibbons with Dimity.
Yeah, Sally, good performance out there. And when I see perfect little left-handers like this, I can't help but get flashbacks to your amazing performances at Fiji.
Turning back the clock, Dim. I do love a left, so it's been really nice to return to that kind of reef break situation. That was a chess match though, with that outgoing tide and just the size the wave is today. Just trying to pick them. Like, I went on the hunt and had a bunch that if I had my time again, I wouldn't go, but I was pretty happy to squeak those couple.
And you had a long wait with competition, lots of lay days. You're staying with Isabella. What was that like, the vibe, knowing that you two would be matched up against each other?
Oh, it was so hard all week. Just rooming with her, she's such a great mate, and I'm so invested in her journey. She's had to run through the first part of the year and winning at Margs too, so I was pumped for her either way. We left the room and we just nodded, and like, whoever comes back, we know we're great mates first, and it's just so hard to see a fellow Aussie kind of feel that pinch and have a loss.
Well, amazing performance. We can't wait to watch for the rest of the event. Good luck, Sal.
Quite everyone back home. Miss you, love you.
Solid win there for Sally Fitzgibbons, and interesting how that happens more often than not. Whoever you're staying with, you end up competing against, and especially as early as the elimination round, it's got to be tough for Bella from a win to an elimination round loss. It's kind of wild how often that does happen.
It does.
In pro surfing. Any reason for that, Luke, that you figured out over the years?
I'm not sure, but every competitor has had a few of them, and it's torture, especially when they're on hole for so long and you're against your flatmate. makes it pretty hard, doesn't it, Laura?
Totally. It feels like we've only been here like a week, but it feels like we've been here a month, and Margaret River feels like it was last year. So it's just, you know, it's so hard. And like you were saying, as we see Leaky up on a nice looking wave.
Big vertical for Leaky, jams it with a bit of a slide. I love the way she frames up her backhand attack and throwing in some variety on the different sections there, which is hard to do. Leaky looking to better a 3.4, needs a 5.37 to get the lead change. She contemplated coming back last year at different stages. I know she was really trying to maybe make the effort to get completely healthy for Mexico. And I think there's a lot more in those recoveries from just trusting that you're going to be able to surf pain-free. Back to this one, Luke, what'd you see?
That was an incredible turn out of the lip. I think she pulled that one just a little tight. She might have left some opportunity down the line, but this first turn was pretty good. Nearly got it up there for a float, but that turn out of the lip was fantastic and gets one more, and it's definitely going to keep her in the heat.
Gabrielle O'Brien's got an answer. Nice open wall, second turn. She's got that solid jam, vertical climb, and she stays on her feet.
Wow.
She really punctuates her turns. She makes us all think about each section as she gets her combinations going down the line. A good answer to Lakey Peterson, Laura.
I love the difference between the way these two girls are approaching the waves. I mean, Gabrielle O'Brien, you can tell, you know, she's keeping that flow, and she's, you know, just putting together the dots and staying powerful and just, you know, picking her sections, whereas Leaky is just attacking, winding up, and just doing big explosive turns. But yeah, that last turn by Gabby is going to be where all the points come.
Such a solid power-based act for Gabrielle O'Brien, the rookie survivor this year, getting past the cut. As we look at Leaky now with priority, scores coming through for Peterson's last 4.4. So Brian still had the lead, and she'll probably improve as well, Luke.
Yeah, that was a great wave. What a matchup. Both these surfers really reading the conditions well, knowing what waves to take, making sure they've got a lot of wave opportunity. And yeah, let's see how we go with that last score, and there's some more waves coming through.
Gabrielle O'Brien turns in a 5.83, best score of the heat so far to extend her lead. Here comes Lakey Peterson looking to answer. Clean first turn, driving into the oncoming section. She'll hit it with a lot of power. She's got to settle for a two-turn combo. Is she going to get close to a lead change, Laura? Is she going to need more?
She's going to need more. I think Leaky needs to get out there and just try wait for a bigger wave. Like Gabby's was a fair bit bigger than Leaky's wave. So I think, you know, hoping that, you know, we'll get a few more sets. There's still 15 minutes left, so I think it'll be wave selection at this point.
As we take another look, how'd you like the first turn, Luke?
First turn was great. I just feel like Leaky's got a little bit of hesitancy on how hard to come out of the lip or to get to the next turn. And I think that's maybe affecting her scoreline, where Gabrielle is just so confident out of the lip and she's pushing really hard. And that's actually catapulting her into the next turn. She's getting that drive, and that's making her go through to the next turn. And that's really helping her link them up nicely. So at the moment, I think that's the difference in the scoreline.
Gabrielle O'Brien already featuring in a final just recently at Margaret River, as the tour has condensed, so it's the one surfer full-time on the back end of the tour that hasn't won a victory at a CT event. That's how heavy these heats are very early. They're incredibly stacked. There's a lot of experience, as the main theme now is to work out the WSL Final 5. Gabrielle O'Brien leads over the veteran Lakey Peterson. Still 14 minutes to go.
I'm coming from way up there, okay? It looks like he's just by the surface.
What we're doing is working with the surf camps and the park, and that creates a model of comprehensive surf ecosystem conservation that can be exported throughout the rest of the world.
So here we are. This is the spot of the tree planting.
We got to take care of our environment. We got to take care of the world. So it's awesome to see big brands coming up like the WSL Corona.
The support that we've gotten from Quiksilver and Roxy to be able to launch new projects has been immense.
I think it's really important, especially for us as surfers.
It was so special to be a small part of Duke's dream. You know, he dreamed 100 years ago, over 100 years ago, that surfing would one day be in the Olympics. And here we are today. It is in the Olympics.
Small boat, island, perfect waves, millions of monkeys everywhere.
The Roxy Pro G-Land is brought to you by Roxy, official apparel partner of the Roxy Pro G-Land. By Expedia, the official travel booking partner of the World Surf League. And by Oakberry, fuel yourself with the official acai of the World Surf League Australasia. We're all excited to get the competition back underway this afternoon. It'll be a short day for the championship tour, but the action continues. Coming up next with the Quiksilver Icons of Surf Expression session. And still 12 minutes to go till we get there. During the break, we had Gabrielle O'Brien throw down some more big backhand turns. Snap to a nice fading carve. Powerful even through that backhand sweep. Connecting them all well. Vertical on the finish. Stumbled for a moment, but recovered that final turn, Luke.
Yeah, she nearly did it again, but managed to stay on her feet, deciding to get the Red Bull ski back out around in the lineup. But Gabriella O'Brien is really impressive on her backhand. She looks so confident. It's really hard this wave to surf. You know, when it's small like this, the wind isn't strong offshore. It's a lot harder than you think, as we see Lakey Peterson having another go.
Leaky kind of had to miss that first section, but she recovered well into two big hooks.
Oh, huge.
Incredibly aggressive and great timing in a small space. So maybe that little setup work before that section really paid off for Leaky to really unload. Luke, you kind of noticed how she might have been a bit hesitant before. She's worked that out and really showcased a lot of power. Laura, did you like that wave?
I love that. I mean, it looked like she was missing that first section, but she was just reading it. She just wanted to get around it to get to this amazing section at the end, to get these two big turns. And like I was saying, Leaky attacked right there. That was so critical. So in the pocket, I think that could be close to the score.
I agree, Laura. I think that, even though she missed that first part of the wave and had to go around it, that turn was good. And this is what the judges like, straight into the next one. And for me, that was the best turn of the morning. So I think the judges are going to reward that.
Really impressive for Lakey Peterson. And you talked about before with timing and tempo on this wave, Luke, where sometimes you don't think you have enough time and you kind of find yourself rushing. I felt like that kind of shows with Leaky, like it's okay to kind of set yourself up and really have some rewarding turns. When she got to that section, that was brilliant.
It was, and she's been a little hesitant out at the lip, and I feel up to now the scores have reflected that in the difference between Gabriella. But right there, I think she's realised that she's got to commit, and commit she did, and it's going to be a great score.
Lakey Peterson just trying to find the lead from the rookie for quite some time now. We're down to the 10-minute mark. Best wave before that was Gabby's 5.83. Leaky now is the best score of the heat, a 6.83 and the lead. Priority is with Brian, now needing a 5.51. Interesting how quickly things can change, Laura.
Totally. I mean, it just seemed like, before Leaky just didn't have that rhythm, or like the waves just were kind of dribbling off. And I was kind of thinking back to Joanne's first heat this morning and her big scores over, up into, the 7-point range. Were these waves that had the big critical sections that were on the shallow reef at the end that you could, just do something really big and dramatic and exciting. And so Leaky, pretty much most of that score came from that one turn.
Could be a turning point for Leaky for the contest, that turn, because now she realises what the judges want, how her approach needs to be. And, Leaky, she's won events. She's always in the quarters, semis, you know, I feel like her going now should be going, okay, that's what they want. I can do that. Let's do it again.
8:45 on the clock now as we get excited for the Quiksilver Icons of Surf Expression session. Dimity Stoyles hanging out with Isabella Nichols.
I'm here with Isabella Nichols, and the best way to wash off a tough loss is to buy expression session, you know?
Yes, I didn't even know this was on, and I came in feeling a little bit deflated, and my board was already chosen for me, and I've got the best team member in Felipe, so best way to wash off a loss.
Exactly, another chance to surf G-Land with just your friends out. Are you looking forward to the next event?
Yeah, I'm excited to do some hang fives, some cockroaches, some spinny spins. I don't know, just onto El Salvador. It'll be a fun time there, and I've had a great time here, and pretty keen to head to the next one.
Thanks, Isabella. We can't wait to watch you. Go have some fun.
So cool for Isabella Nichols to have this opportunity. It's totally up to her. You know, a tough loss, she's allowed to run back to her room and watch tape and do whatever she wants. And she's done the great thing, grabbing that YU, that Resolve Road back in the 90s, and she'll have incredible left-handers to glide on. I'm really looking forward to seeing how she's going to approach that equipment, Luke.
Yeah, well, that's going to be fantastic. There's some beautiful surfboards there, and it sounds like there's going to be some teams, so let's see what happens.
Laura, I know you love different types of boards. Would you be fighting for the Peter McCabe, the Jerry Lopez design?
I think
kind of hard to pick one.
I think I'd have to go the Terry Fitz. You know, Terry TF is a Northie friend of ours, and you know, I'd have to jump on that and pay that some homage.
Terry Fitzgerald, pin wing single fin 7.6 downstairs. Be exciting to see that one in motion. What Terry rode at G-Land back in the 70s. So cool to look back at surfing history. It's amazing how quickly boards have changed. It's always going to be that way, isn't it, in our sport? Always looking for the next big thing. A lot of surfers are just hooked on it. When they're not in the water, they're refining fin design and what could give them just that slight edge on their competition.
Yeah, Terry Fitz winning the On Bali Pro back in the day at Uluwatu on a board. He might have even given us a replica there. I'm not too sure, but the thing I love going through all those boards is you can see different parts of the outline in boards from today. You know, different shapes of rails and different outlines, different wide point forwards kind of been coming back for good waves with that narrower tail, straighter outline. So yeah, you know, it's kind of, if you're a surfboard geek and love it as much as I do, you're down there examining and you're seeing parts of the today's surfboard through all those different beautiful boards down there. It's fantastic.
Luke, the Sam Egan, your father's a board that he shaped for you, a 6.7 Swallowtail to your Victory 97. Back in that time or through your career, were you constantly giving your dad feedback, or was he kind of like, here you go, Luke, I know what you're going to ride, or was there a constant back and forth?
Definitely a constant back and forth. And, you know, through my career, my dad, we kind of had a gentleman's agreement that he'd make all my boards for the quality wave events, and we'd just focus on that part, and I would ride other shapers' surfboards as well. And that just narrowed it down to what we enjoyed doing and what we used to do together, you know, traveling to Bali back in the day. I've been coming here since I was about 12 years old with my dad and surfing. So it just, you know, that was just, you know, the great piece to do with your dad. And I have to tell you, to win my first event on his board was a buzz for me and a buzz for him.
So incredibly special. Looking back at memories here at G-Land. Last event run, 97. This is the first event for the women, the Roxy Pro G-Land. Lakey Peterson leads over Gabrielle O'Brien, but that lead just turned on Leki's last wave. She started off in the 4 range. 4.5 was her keeper from her second attempt. Gabrielle O'Brien still in the hunt. She's been ripping a 5 and a 5.83 so far, Luke.
Yeah, she had the start in this heat and got a couple of good waves, but Leaky just seemed to work a few things out, comes around, maybe could have got a floater and then into this turn, and then this turn here, best turn of the day, rewarded with a 6.83, and I think Leaky's just realised what the judges want from her, and she can deliver that time and time again, so look out.
It's interesting when it comes to scores and what you look at to get a big score, where Gabrielle O'Brien maybe had these longer lefts that gave her multiple turns. But to simplify it, judges always love big sections. Leaky didn't have to maybe do as many turns, but the quality of them were definitely massive on that last combination, Laura.
Yeah, they really were, and the waves were just, you know, sucky. They were dredging. They were top to bottom. And I think some of Gabby's waves might have just been a bit more, you know, fuller. And so I think the judges always love to see it. If you're throwing your board up there when there's, you know, basically like reef popping through down the bottom, then you're going to get rewarded.
Very interesting start to the afternoon, losing Courtney Conlog, who had spot 5 on the rankings. Bella Nichols, number 4 in the world. Unfortunately, Tyler Wright from the COVID protocol out of the contest. She's number 3 in the world. So now looking at that top 5 picture, Carissa Moore, number 2. In yellow, Brisa Hennessy. There's some room to move now to set up the WSL Final 5 already heading into El Salvador.
It's already getting mixed up, isn't it? It's unbelievable. And we've still got, you know, we're only halfway. So what a few months we've got coming up.
I think it speaks to this new format as well, doesn't it, Laura? Like already having like the Final 5 changing so quickly, and we're still in the elimination round.
Totally. Well, we saw at Margaret River just the most insane shuffle of rankings. We literally saw, you know, Gabby and Isabella jump from way back. Malia Manuel was in 6th and dropped back to 11th and obviously didn't make the cut. But, you know, these events, you know, with this condensed format, we're just going to see so much shuffling. It's going to be so exciting. And, I mean, you know, the girls that win their first round heat, boom, straight into the quarterfinals. So, you know, and that's a keeper result. So, you know, it's going to be an awesome shuffle to watch.
And I think the big thing we need to emphasize in the back end of the year, there's no throwaways. So these elimination round losses are going to sting when it comes to making up for a spot at lower trestles this year.
Yeah, I just think all the girls are going to lift, you know, and on the men's side as well. Everyone's just going to lift, and who can lift the longest for the next 4 or 5 events. It's yeah, it's going to be fantastic, and everyone's going to be watching very closely.
That's true, and I want to thank all the fans for hanging in there through all the different up and down hold calls we've had for the last handful of days, just to keep you aware of where we are in the waiting period. Tomorrow, that new swell is supposed to gradually fill in. Predicted nice wind conditions as well. Saturday looks like overhead sets, maybe a foot or 2 on the sets. And also Sunday, a clean day of surfing here at G-Land. So it looks like it'll be rapid fire for the next few days. So we won't be going up and down with our holds as much as we have been, Laura, in this past, you know, 5 days or so.
Yeah, a few less card games, you know. We've been, I think everyone's been wandering around the island just trying to, you know, do or see anything we can. But, you know, back into action, everyone's back into comp zone, and you know, even I was a bit late this morning running to the call. It's just like, boom, we're on. Like, it's so good to be back. You know, straight into these women's heats. How exciting!
Down to 55 seconds, and the rookie's in a bit of trouble. Does have priority. Gabrielle needs a 5.51 to battle with Lakey Peterson. Peterson, with all of her experience, winning multiple events around the world, has put pressure on this lady here. Bryan up and out, uses her priority and doesn't get the score. Down to 30 seconds. Lakey probably is just going to play some defense to put this one away. As we'll see a big float to start, winding up for a backhand blast. Lakey unloading again on her backhand. Multiple turns already, coming down with the lip. Can she throw down one last turn? Lakey stays on her feet. 10 seconds on the clock. Lakey looking to better a 4.5. And with Gabby taking that quick wave and falling, Lakey really capitalized on a better position to really open up there.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake by Gabriella when that wave was behind and she had priority, and Lakey making sure that she got it and will definitely extend her lead. Job done.
Exciting matchups continue in the later rounds of the contest, but coming up next, it'll be the Quiksilver Icons of Surf Expression session. We'll be right back.
This will be fun. Expression session, madness coming up next. 8 surfers, 4 female, 4 male. Got the line up for the show.
Welcome back to the show. We're in for a very special treat as we get the Quiksilver Icons of Surf Expression session happening here after what was a quick day of competition in the Roxy Pro G-Land. Got the elimination round done and our quarterfinals are set. Ronnie Blakey here with Luke Egan, Dibbity Stoyle. This is going to be a lot of fun, Luke, but the question has to be asked. Why aren't you out there riding your board that you won in 97 on?
It's not 6 to 8 foot and perfect.
Good call. But Dim, you've had a close look at those boards. It's an incredible quiver, one you'd love to throw in your own garage, and one of the competitors will get the opportunity to pick one of those special crafts.
Yeah, they're so beautiful, aren't they? But they better keep an eye on it because, you know, if they leave it unattended, you never know where it might end up.
You just never know. Old shimmy disco, eh?
Yeah, slippery
Light
fingers.
But let's talk a little bit about these boards. For you, Luke, obviously an easy pick for you, one that's got a lot of sentimental value. Take us through it. It's a beautiful shape by your dad.
Yes, it is. 6'7" by 19 by 2.5. Little swallowtail, baby swallowtail. There was 2 boards I rode on the last day. I rode the 6'7" and I rode a 6'10" as well, but we figured that the 6'7", Dad and I figured we should do the 6'7" so these guys can throw it around a little bit better. And yeah, so that's why we went with that board. But so excited to watch these guys out there on these boards and see how they perform. And it's interesting to see who's on what.
Yeah, we've got an amazing lineup. Whoa. And that's Carissa Moore. Looks like she's on the Simon Anderson thruster design.
Look at the smile on her face. I think that was more fun than any of her boards.
Well, easy. But yeah, she's certainly loving the opportunity, and it's a great opportunity for us to see our competitors on some different stuff. I mean, typically around a CT event, Dimity, you know, people are reluctant to experiment, try different stuff. They've got that refined piece of fiberglass and foam under their feet. They don't want to deviate too much and lose that feel. But this is a great way to spend the afternoon watching them step onto something different, and it's no doubt going to have an effect on how they approach this wave.
Yeah, it really is. And even just when I had to interview Isabella after that tough loss, like she just had a big smile on her face with that big, you know, that board under her arm, knowing that it's so different to what she normally rides. And I think surfers at heart are just pure surf fans. Like they just want to have fun. And oh, here she is. Look, she's styling. She's happy now.
From up the point.
Well, things just getting underway now, so we're going to enjoy this show for 35 minutes as we see. It's like Tatiana out there at
on
the
moment. McCabe.
But here is the rundown on who is out there at the moment. Jackson Baker's out there in the pink, and well, he had an obvious choice to make. He went with the Peter McCabe single fin. Felipe Toledo in the yellow. He is on the Terry Fitz single fin. Kai Albelli in the black. He's riding the Sam Egan. Kanoa Igarashi in the blue on the Mark Richards twin.
That's going to be dangerous.
Stephanie Gilmore in the black on the Jerry Lopez single fin. Carissa Moore in the blue. We saw her on the Simon Anderson thruster. Tatiana just got a wave. She's in the pink. She's on Peter McCabe single fin. And Isabella Nichols in the yellow is on the YU Rizal Tanjun. So I think Jackson Baker might actually be on the Jerry Lopez. So just on 34 minutes to go, we get to watch this show unfold. Steph Gilmore smiling as always, and she loves the opportunity to try out different boards, something that, you know, I guess you could say, Luke, is more willing to step onto different equipment and experiment between events.
Yeah, for sure, as we see Kaio on the Sam Egan just coming out of the lip very nicely. But yeah, Steph really likes to just experience different boards and see the pluses and the minuses and what they do. And yeah, and I think that's been put into her style, back into riding her conventional surfboard, her high performance board as well. You see, I think you learn from riding the single fins and the twin fins when you get back on your high performance board. You know, the single fins, you really got to put a lot of effort in to get down the line. You got to go up and down the wave and find the steep part to project yourself down the line. So, and the twin fins have got more speed than you know what to do with. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. And as we see Philippe on the Terry Fitz.
Now, this is another guy that loves to jump on different equipment. I remember over the years, he just, especially at lowers when there's events there, he gets his home base, he's got his whole board quiver, and I remember watching him on a long board during the free surfs and all these fun boards. So he loves it. But going back to Steph, I think her favourite manoeuvre is actually just the high line on a single fin.
Just standing there, not even
Yeah,
doing anything.
just smiling
she
and high line.
So good in that mode, as we see there in the yellow, just taking one quickly and not getting much out of it. But this is the Quiksilver, iconic for a reason, surf expression session. And really the reason that we wanted to get all these boards in the rack and get these competitors riding them is that, you know, these are board designs that have really shaped the sport as we know it and influenced, you know, big changes in design and some that have stuck around for a while. Terry Fitzgerald, for example, his board from 1976, and Terry, a super expressive surfer, very flamboyant, always sort of ran his own race on his approach, was regarded as the sultan of speed, shaped his own boards after spending a bit of time up at Kira originally and then heading over to Hawaii and working with Dick Brewer, and that really gives us a great opportunity to segue and pay tribute to Dick, because he did pass away at the end of the month, March 29th. Just you know, referred to as a titan of the surfboard industry, and his legacy, well, it can be seen in all the crafts that are out in this lineup at the moment.
Yeah, and Dick had so much to do with great shapers below him too. You know, he passed on his secrets and his trade to famous shapers like Mark Richards, Chris Christensen from San Diego, and the list goes on. He was always happy with craftsmen of that era are so happy to teach the younger guys the tricks of the trade, to you know, to manufacture boards a lot easier, or to, you know, to have those nice lines. And you know, being a son of a shaper, it's always great to see my dad connect with other shapers of his era around the world, and they talk for hours and go on about different boards and different foam and, you know, different processes of manufacturing. It's yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, send a big shout out to everyone that is close to Dick, friends, family, of course. And yeah, we mentioned that his designs really did change the way shapers all over the world approach putting boards together. And yeah, his hard work is seen in the rail profile and the bottom design of a lot of these boards out there. Jerry Lopez, who obviously spent plenty of time over here, his board designs would have had a big influence on what Peter McCabe was working on and still working on to this day. So, you know, it's a really cool opportunity here to see what the modern day surfer can do with these crafts.
And the awesome thing is a lot of these fantastic shapers that we're, you know, of the boards we're watching out here today, they're still busy. People still want these boards. They want to have their replica in their house, and they want to have them on the wall. Like Mark Richards is making his twin fins all the time, and my dad has gone into making balsa surfboards now. He makes a bunch of them, and yeah, Jerry's full time making surfboards for people that just want to get their one Jerry Lopez board, and Peter McCabe also still fairly busy. So it's fantastic. These guys are still, you know, doing their craft and churning out beautiful surfboards.
Yeah, I just picked up beautiful MR twin fin myself. It was a special birthday present, one that I've wanted for a long time, just to have in my quiver forever. So, yeah, you know, those guys are busy.
There's no way that thing's going on the wall though, Dim.
With wax on it, yes.
A couple of depressions, yeah. Eh? Still hitting the end section.
After every surf, it just goes straight back into the corner of the living room.
Perfect. Yeah, I think for me, and I'm sure you guys will agree, one of the coolest things about all the boards that are out there is they've all got a bit of artwork on them, and all the boards of that era, and in particular, you know, the work that Martin Worthington did on the Terry Fitzgerald boards, that was just so iconic. The most unbelievable quiver shots of Terry Fitzgerald back in the day.
Yeah, so beautiful. Martin was one of the best airbrushes I've ever seen, and I remember being a kid in my dad's surf shop, Egan Surfboards, and we used to go down to Hot Butted Surfboards, and Dad used to get a bunch of the boards and put them in our store with all the Egan surfboards and other beautiful brands from around Australia too. And I used to love going down to Fitzy's factory and run in and see what Martin had been doing, you know, and then you'd see a new mural just on the wall of the factory because he was maybe bored that afternoon. So what a talent. And between Terry's shapes and Martin's airbrushes, they were some of the most beautiful boards ever made.
Could you imagine trying to keep up with Gabby's quiver, the airbrush artist?
Oh, yeah. Mural. Gabby wants a mural every board now. He only gets about 90 a year, so.
There's no room for artwork. There's so many stickers on the thing. But yeah, Terry Fitzgerald's boards, iconic. Love the look of those things. And, you know, it's funny because his was all about the look, but for Jerry Lopez and Peter McCabe, their boards, they were sprayed for a reason here, and they went with that camouflage spray, and it helped sort of reduce the glare. They also wore snorkeling goggles sometimes when they were surfing out here.
Yeah, you can imagine being the only ones here in the jungle with only a couple of mates, and how many hours you'd get in the water with no one around. And yeah, the camo is supposed to be to stop the glare coming off the surfboard. Maybe they're right. I guess they were polished surfboards then, so maybe that was the issue. But I think it was to look pretty cool in the jungle myself.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic look. No doubt about it. Luke, you got a really close look at the boards down there, and obviously you've got an innate feel for the one that got you the victory here at the Quiksilver Pro G-Land 97. But what about some of the other boards? What were you getting excited about when you were running your hand over some of those rails?
I really like the Jerry Lopez. Jerry's just probably got the volume a little bit more of what these surfers would want to surf right now, and the bottom was probably modernized just a touch, which is fantastic. The outline was definitely of the era of him coming here, and just the balance of the board under the arm just felt beautiful. The finishing was just A1 work on the glass job and the airbrush as well. And then, yeah, I like the Fitzy. I like the Fitzy as well. That looked beautiful. The YU and Mark Richards is a stickler for detail too. So that board was just polished to an inch of its life, and had the beautiful airbrush on it. Which to say, haven't seen Kanoa ride a wave out here yet. And my bet is that board in these quick little lefts are going to do some damage. So I've been really interested to see Kanoa on the MR twin fin. MR's put out a lot of these replica boards of his four-time world title board, and every one I've ever picked up and had a look at have been just perfect. So it's a credit to him to just keep manufacturing these boards, and they're perfect. And the other one, the Simon Anderson, I love the thickness of the Simon. You know, our boards have gotten so thin in the tail and the nose and stuff, and just see back in the 80s when Simon came up with that design, it's pretty chunky in the nose and the tail, and I think that sometimes that can benefit you in some different waves. I've seen some guys you know, riding those replicas of Simons, and they're absolutely ripping. You know, like you got to double take to see if they're actually on a modern board or if it is a Simon thruster replica. So yeah, you know, there's all these guys are just master craftsmen, and they're beautiful. The YU board as well. You know, Riz rode them for a long time, and yeah, he's a fantastic shaper as well, and it was awesome.
Yoshinori
Ueda.
Yeah, Rizal Tanjung model, and he rode the board in 97, got himself a 10-point ride that year as a wild card in the event. It's been awesome to have Rizal around the contest, Dim. He's been kind of hopping from camp to camp, just kind of making cameos and blowing people's minds with stories from over here.
Yeah,
as we see a wave. Take us through this one, Dim.
Oh, who have we got here?
Oh, it looks like Kaio.
Kaio on the...
Sam Egan.
Yes, Sam Egan. And gee, it suits him. I just got to say that the way those guys used to surf was actually radical when you look at the... I mean,
hey.
This board was probably less volume than the older models, but the way that Terry Fitzgerald and those guys used to throw around those boards is actually, they had so much talent.
Absolutely, absolutely. Terry Fitz winning. I'm not sure what year it was in the 70s, but he won the On Bali Pro on one of those boards. As we see the replay here, Kayo realising this 6-7, he's got to get right on the tail to be able to throw it around, but he gets his feet over the fins and links a couple of nice turns out of the lip. And this is why Dad and I decided to do the 6-7, because I'm not sure how the 6-10 would have gone on a day like this. I'm sure Kayo would have given it some stick, but he's doing some beautiful turns, linking really nicely. I think Dad might get some orders out of this wave.
That was sick, that 3-turn combo.
You know what the cool thing is? We've taken it out of the panel's hands, and we're going to be judging who we think is going to get the free choice of a board out of this quiver. And at the moment, I don't know about you guys, but I think Kayo's our front runner after that ride. Yeah, there's some nice turns there. I'd really like to see, and I'll talk to Kayo after this, because that board has set fins in it too. So, you know, compared to the lift out fins these days, it'd be interesting to see how he feels with the set fins. I'm not sure if he'd ever had a board with set fins before. Well, one bloke who loves his set fins is bobbing around out there in the lineup. Strada Wasilewski, how are you enjoying the show?
Yeah, what's happening, Ronnie? How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. You want to help us judge this thing? We think Kayo might have just taken the lead with that last ride.
Yeah, he said he was going to let me ride it too, and maybe I get in on this. Is that all right?
Can you get in on it?
Can I? Yeah, just going to borrow the board from Kayo. It looked like a good board, the Egan.
I'm just getting word from the bosses, mate. No, they want you to stay out of the way.
Stay out of the lineup, top. It looks like she's looking at one in here on the inside. There's some really nice waves coming in all over the reef right now. Tide's draining out, so there's different parts of the reef starting to light up. I want to see that, the YU just trimming. That thing is mental. There's so many boards in the water. You just want to get on them all. And it's like one of those like fantastic things with it. When you ride different boards, you really get to see people's styles and how they ride the line on the board. It's going to be fun to watch. Look at this thing coming in up the top here.
Oh, any takers?
No, there was a back off there. There's a little barrel behind that, though. A little tube time. I'm telling you, put me in.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Isabella Nichols can do on the Rizal's board, because that is probably, Luke, the smallest and maybe most modern design out there at the moment. Yeah, it probably is, as we see Felipe on the Tezza, on the TF down the line. Bit of lumber to move there, but he did pretty well on his last wave, but that wave closing out. Just trying to find a nice trim on that one as Jackson Baker looks to take off here.
Ooh.
Nice little
smooth
top turn there. But we did have pretty tricky conditions for the elimination round, so you know, rather than kind of throw the afternoon away, we thought it was a good opportunity to get this specialty heat underway and see what the world's best can do with some iconic designs from the years gone by. And a lot of these boards really kind of, they did make their mark here at G-Land as well as other locations. But Terry Fitzgerald, Jerry Lopez, Peter McCabe, yourself with your design, Luke, all boards that kind of required a different approach, and certainly enjoyed some amazing visions here at Grudgigan. Yeah, and the Sam Egan and the YU, they're probably the most modern boards out there, and if you have a close look at them, the good wave boards of today aren't too different. Like the bottoms, you know, you want to take the concave out of the bottoms when the waves get good and just dull everything up, because you're harnessing the speed of the wave, and you have a close look at those boards, and you know, yeah, these days we ride shorter boards, but the tails are still pulled in a lot. You know, that these guys, when they, you know, at Margaret River or here at G-Land or Tahiti, so those boards aren't far off the mark, and that's a board I rode 25 years ago. So when the waves are good, simplify the board, and it shows that, yeah, they still work. Absolutely. Let's hear from one of our competitors now out there in the lineup. Strada's got a special friend. We found Felipe.
Felipe, you just told me that you had a comment about this board and how it feels to ride. Why don't you let the fans know what it's like to ride this line of lumber?
It's actually scary. It's a big board, it's a thick board. The waves are kind of steep, so just got to sit on the puck and try to go as fast as they can, and hopefully get a little barrel. Maybe in this one. This one looks right.
He's looking wide. Look, he's looking wide. He wants it. Oh, are they too deep? Go, go, go. Take him. Oh, Philly. He's on it. Go, Philly.
Well, Toledo's going to have to channel. He's in a Terry Fitzgerald here, who just always rode high on the wave, had incredible style, and Felipe's linked this one together pretty nicely here. Whoa. Tricky end section, did well to pull the board out of the lip.
Didn't look dangerous to me. It looked amazing.
And yeah, it is a shout out to those guys that the strength in their legs just from naturally riding those boards every single day. You know, Felipe's struggling to turn it because his boards is so much less volume, and he's so used to just, you know, being able to do whatever he wants, and now he's actually got to push really hard and get that board moving. It's incredible what those guys were able to do, be so radical on these big boards.
And you know, you can tell these guys are the best surfers in the world. It takes like about half a turn for Felipe here to work this board out. You see him just step back on the tail there and realise he's got to get back a little bit further, and the board is still actually working in these smaller waves. How's the way he got that board on the edge, as we see coming out of the barrel, Kaio.
And it looks like Tati up here too, with a lot of speed on a good sized wave, trying to find that open face. Isn't going to be able to do it on this one.
Here it is.
Well, Igarashi on the MR twin. Look at this wave, beautiful in that afternoon light as he just hammers down the line. He didn't do a lot, but it was still enjoyable to watch.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
really
just
cool.
over 16 minutes to go.
Little walk, step up to the front. You know, it's such cool style.
Terry Fitzgerald, Luke, we spoke about his boards, and he's passed on that shaping legacy to his son Joel, who's been doing some amazing twin fins recently. But Joel actually turned up here one year when he wasn't in the contest and did some amazing surfing up at Cons while the competition was running, right?
Yes, he did. And he was actually a fan of my dad too. He used to get a bunch of boards off Dad for good waves as well. So yeah, Joel, what an incredible surfer, and now incredible craftsman.
Well, Kanoa Igarashi loving the MR. We were talking about Martin Worthington's beautiful artwork, and Mark Richards does all his own in his garage, and he's down there with Strider at the moment, and with one of those boards, which we see a replay here of Sam Egan. Sam Egan's board, I should say.
Yeah. Kaio getting a barrel, highlining. Tati just nearly getting around that one.
Yeah, let's see if we can catch up with Strider. He's out there in the lineup with Kanoa as Stephanie Gilmore just trims her way down the line.
All right, yeah, here, come. Yeah, Igarashi, tell me about the board, how it felt going through that section. You kind of barrel dodged it, but you know, you were on it, you were flying through it.
I was flying, you know, it was like going down, like, okay, I'm gonna do a turn right here.
Talk us through this one.
Okay, we got Riz. I guess she's my teammate, she's blue. Oh, she's kind of flaring. Oh, what? Bang, she's going smooth, she's going for the smooth point.
Almost right there.
She's got like a 6.5 in her, like a heat.
Good thing she's on your team, because you went straight on yours.
I went dead straight, but it was the best 0.5 I've ever caught, because I was flying, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn here. Like, no. Next section, I'm like, I'm gonna turn here. No, I'm gonna get barreled. Oh, I'm gonna turn my barrel. Oh, I'm done. So it was fun.
You look good. You look really good doing it, though. You look like flying through that one barrel section. We love seeing it. Get back out there, get the MR flaring, but top to bottom.
Thank you, Strider. Yeah, Kanoa Igarashi just loving the feel, loving the speed of that twin fin. Luke, what's the sensation of riding one of MR's retro twins?
Oh, we saw he harnessed the speed really easily, and probably, you know, from for the beginning to the end of the wave, probably covered more distance than anyone, because that thing's an absolute rocket. Twin fins just seem to have that forward speed, no drag from having a centre fin on the stringer. But and the beautiful thing with the Mark Richards are the outlines. So the faster you go, the stiffer they get. And as we saw, he's really forward on the board there. But look at that effortless speed as he sits in the nice part of the wave. Just if this section had been nice there to be able to pull into, but let's hope we get to see a bit of a slower wave, so we can see Kanoa show us some turns on that thing. I'm sure he's going to go berserk.
Yeah, what about the pure joy on his face then? I don't think we've seen him that excited in so long. He just, yeah, it's a good feeling riding that twin fin, I bet.
Yeah, 100%. Just under 13 minutes to go here as Toledo looks to line something up on the inside here, riding the Terry Fitzgerald. And here he goes. Let's see what he can do with it. Getting a little bit of that sort of body language in that Terry was famous for back in the day. He was
he's got that drop knee and the fin way back on that narrow tail, and showing us a little bit of TF flair there. But I think he's doing fantastic on that board. That's quite a big board, and Philippe's one of the smallest guys there. So I'm loving what he's being able to do on that board.
So we've got some decisions to make here during this iconic for a reason expression session. We're going to be announcing a male winner and a female winner. At the moment, I mean, Kaya's been barreled and he had some really nice turns, combinations, but that's not necessarily the criteria that we're going to be scoring. So for you guys, who's got it on the men's side at the moment?
Well, I actually like Kaya's couple of big hits, but that's getting a little bit to what we do these days, isn't it? But and I like the flying down the line, but even though Kanoa did absolutely nothing, it looked good.
Yeah, it went pretty fast, Luke, which is...
He went fast, you know, and here he is again. He's not going to get around this one. I like that one of Kaya's, but I'm biased. It's on Dad's board, but yeah. And well, actually, Toledo is probably, for a board that's not really, you know, made for the style of surf is out there, I think he's doing a fantastic job.
Dimity?
Yeah, he is. And I love the way Kaya's shown a bit of everything, you know, like he got a sweet little barrel and he went so tight in the pocket for 3 back-to-back. But here's Jacko. Can you please wear that that hat in your heat?
Jackson Baker, he's been wearing it in the free surfs. He might give it a go. But not getting much out of that ride. He's going to head back out there, 10.5 minutes to go. Yeah, it's hard to go past the tube ride when you're at G-Land. So I think Kaya's maybe still got it for me at the moment. Kanoa's probably not too far behind, just based on the speed and the style. I think
actually where he was standing on the board too, he was like late 70s MR on his backhand, say at the Coke contest at Narrabeen, just standing forward a little bit. And that's another thing to mention too, is that he rode that ball correctly then. You know, everyone used to get down the line, they wouldn't stay on the tail on like on a traditional thruster. You'd get back on the you'd move forward and steer the board from a bit further up, as we see Jackson just on a McCabe here, just gliding, keeping it all pretty groovy. Got his hat on, sun-safe hat.
Let's talk a bit about Peter McCabe for a moment, because he did spend a whole lot of time here at G-Land with Jerry Lopez, and you know, just really garnered an incredible reputation for being an amazing barrel rider, but such a core lord. Basically just worked to save up to get to Indo and then spent 6 months here every single year. Yeah,
he'd be in Newcastle just making as many surfboards as he could to return back up to Indonesia to go surfing, and Dave's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
A bit around Newcastle when I was a kid, and he was always, you know, making a bunch. He'd come home and sometimes only be home for a couple of weeks because he'd run out of surfboards. Go home, make a bunch of boards, punch out a couple of orders, and then come back up to Indonesia.
Stephanie Gilmore up at the moment. This one's starting to bowl out. She's going to get out of this one. But yeah, it's been a little bit hard to just identify what boards are under whose feet out there. But you're right, Jacko is riding a McCabe. I believe he's got a couple of boards over here at the moment.
Yeah, I could see the trade winds between his feet then on that board. So he is on a McCabe, as we see. This is a great wave. We've been waiting for this.
Oh.
Not really clean lines. This is Isabella Nichols, and
oh wow,
she's on a replica Rizal's board from his wildcard performance here back in '97. And she's styling. She didn't kind of go to that
she should
sort
be
of
on
high performance approach.
She should be on the Fitz one.
Yeah,
on the TF
I know. Her
doing
and Felipe
that.
need to swap boards. Actually, Felipe had the style too. I love the you know, the old school Terry hip movements, and he was getting right into it.
Jackson up again at the moment.
But yeah, Isabella's grown up in long point breaks at Noosa. Definitely had her fair share of riding some old school boards up there.
We might have to try and tee up a replay of Toledo's last ride.
Yeah, that was
We're
nice.
deep in story as he kind of rode across the wave, but he definitely worked the board the way it's meant to be ridden and showed us a bit of style on the inside. I think on the women's side at the moment for me, Carissa Moore on the Simon Anderson's got the field covered. Steph had a really nice stylish trim, sole arch, backhand sole arch, but yeah, I like Carissa's surfing.
Agreed. Here we go. Bit of Fitz.
Taking his time to look
Look at
around.
that. Just the way he's dancing up and down the board too. That's exactly the way, you know, they used to surf with so much flow and style.
So
Nothing was
cool.
forced, was it?
No.
Surfing it out of the middle of the board, and it's working perfectly. Stepping back to get some of those carves done. Wow, I'm nearly changing to Philippe with this wave. He just, you know, harnessing the era of the surfboard, just getting all groovy on it, and yeah, don't jump up
this
and
part
down, or
here,
we'll
that's
take
for
points
sure.
off.
Even his feet start to bow out, you know, that was my
yeah,
favourite
and he's bowing
style.
the knees out. Fitz used to do that through the flat
Yeah.
sections and bow the knees out and just groove out with his arms. And
I love that.
this is we might have to go to the replay and have the head judge over our shoulder tell us what to do.
And then the Ho brothers adopted that style really well too, you know, with the feet bowed and just styling in the tube out at pipe. Like, love that.
Yeah, at one point the surfers of that era were really influencing what was happening in skateboarding as well, and as people surfed the streets, you know, they definitely started to adopt some of those similar stances and just little stylings as Toledo switch foot.
Hey, is that Italo or?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to improve on his previous ride with that performance.
Gee, the last one was pretty impressive. Really
nice to watch. Yeah, I think back to just the surfers that were riding these boards that shaped their own boards too, a lot of them, and just the incredible power that they had in the surfing. Also, their timing was just so pinpoint because they're not easy boards to swing around in.
Yeah, no. And what about, I've heard stories of, you know, Michael Peterson shaping himself amazing boards and then shaping his mates an absolute dog because they're competing against each other. I love that. It would just never happen now.
And your dad was shaping boards for some of your rivals as well.
Yes, he was. That was okay. Same thing. They didn't go as good as mine.
Isabella up again here, and she's really just you know, taking the style to this board.
She has.
I thought she was just going to stand back on the tail of the thing and just roost some big backhand jams.
Well, you could see how loose the tail was even when she just did that one little hit. Like, it's really cool.
So 4 minutes to go here. Don't forget, we're going to have the WSL post show after the Quiksilver Iconic for a Reason expression session. Beautiful afternoon here at G-Land. Luke, you've been loving your time back here.
Yeah, loving it, Ron. We've had some fun days free surfing as we see Carissa Moore with a beautiful wave. This is a better speed wave for her to get some good turns done, and carves out of the lip.
That was
Simon-esque there out of the lip. She's looking a bit like Simon Anderson for sure.
They're making that board work, and really it was the reason that everyone started talking about the thruster design is just how well it worked for Simon in 81 across so many different locations, incredible conditions, as we do get the opportunity to see Kanoa on a wave with a slower pace, allowing him to really find some freedom and let go of some decent turns.
Yeah, I just wish Kanoa had ridden a few more waves, because I think he's getting the hang of that board, and it looks really nice under his feet.
could be an option for the contest.
Maybe.
3 minutes to go here. How you feeling, Dim, about the front runner on the men's side?
Yeah, on the men's side, I mean, I love the variety that Kaio had. Like, to find a barrel out there is actually, you know, it's almost like good energy with this onshore. But Felipe, that was really cool too. Just seeing him get into the era of that surfboard was, yeah, that was really cool too. But Carissa so far has been a standout for the women's.
Yeah, she might have been the standout for the whole thing.
Just that carve.
I've liked Carissa's surfing on the thruster replica.
Hasn't really seemed like Carissa's sort of struggled to work this board out. It's just been a nice relationship from the moment she stood up.
Stand on the tail, go to the steep part of the wave and turn as hard as possible.
Well, let's have a look at what Kaio got done on the outside and see if he can get himself back into a position to have a pick of one of these amazing boards.
Not bad.
Not bad. I'm sticking with Toledo. I wouldn't mind seeing Kanoa Igarashi's last ride though, because it had a moment where he was racing down the line and then the wave slowed up and allowed him to, you know, shift that weight back onto the tail and start to swing together some nice combinations.
Get radical, you know, like Mark Richards.
Big time. The wounded girl.
Goal.
Had a big influence on everyone in Australia, but in Newcastle in particular.
Yeah, what a time. I reflect on it all the time, being a kid, watching Mark Richards come back from winning world titles, winning you know, world events, and then just surfing Merriweather and training and sitting there and watching him and sit there and watch him for hours. And you know, just in the normal crowd at Merriweather, he was just so superior. But yeah, it was a great time to be a kid in Merriweather when he was winning his 4 world titles.
Here's the replay of Kanoa's last ride. So much speed. He just hammered down the line. Just climbed forward on that board. Love that knock knee stance, Dimity, and then a couple of nice turns through the inside.
Yeah, and here's where he really opens up. How cool is that? Just so much speed and able to rip in straight away. He's definitely looking radical on that. That was really cool to watch. I think that's my favourite so far.
I'm going with Toledo still.
Oh, Toledo. I'm just loving the speed of Igarashi. I think if Toledo can sort of find himself a decent wave that allows the same kind of momentum down the line, I think he might get it, but I know I might be with Igarashi too. But this one is coming to a close, just 5 seconds remaining. And look, I don't think a decision's going to have to be too thought about on the women's side. I think Carissa Moore gets it on the Simon Anderson. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Strider's out there in the lineup. Your thoughts, Strider? Who takes it for the women?
Oh, yeah, I'd have to go with Carissa, looking just too strong. She actually said that this is going to help her whole campaign on the event. She feels like that board was nice and smooth, and then getting back on the other boards will just let her open right back up. But out here right now on the Simon, just looking super solid, loving it.
What about on the men's side for you, Strider?
Well, it's kind of a toss of the coin between Toledo and Igarashi. Igarashi's moment where he was going straight, but he was in that bowl, just flying on the MR20, looked so beautiful. And then Toledo just looked like he was tapping into some other generation, and it was really fun to see him be able to transcend back a couple years there and find himself styling on that Fitzgerald.
So is it for you?
I'd say maybe I'm going to have to give it to Toledo.
All right, well, let's make a call in here on who we think. We've got Carissa taking the women's. For me, I think I'm going to go with Kanoa Igarashi. So we've got one for Kanoa, one for Toledo. Toledo.
Where are we at? 2-2. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go with Felipe just based on the style and the way he was able to, you know, surf that board in that generation.
All right, well, there you have your winners. Perfect. I love it. Felipe Toledo will get a choice of that quiver, and also Carissa Moore will get her choice as well. Stick around. We've got the WSL post show just around the corner, thanks to Corona.
You're watching the Corona Post Show here for the Quiksilver and Roxy Pro G-Land. A very short day, but some big heats decided this afternoon and rippable conditions right out in front. Just closing things out with the Quiksilver Icons of Surf Expression session, and we'll be crowning our champions in that in just a moment. Thanks for being with us, Joe Turpel, Dimity Stoyle, and Richie Lovett. Love your hat.
Thanks, mate.
Always stylish, my friend. Dimity, we got into action. You got to mix it up with some of the surfers today, and it's always tough. The elimination round, we're saying our first goodbyes. How is that feeling this afternoon?
It's always hard saying goodbye, but I feel like this event is just, you know, the least stressful one to lose. I mean, they're on a beautiful island in paradise. They still got some really fun waves, and they've got a really good tour to look forward to. Really interesting too, Rich, when you look at the whole race for the WSL Final 5, number 3, 4, and 5 in the world on the women's side of the rankings are out of this contest moving forward.
Well, that just reeks of opportunity for everyone else, doesn't it? It means the top of the ratings is going to open up and there's more points to go up for grabs, and that's a great opportunity. So if I was down a little bit lower on the rankings there, I'd be going, here's an opportunity for me to actually steal some significant points, maybe get a win, and really put myself in a position to make that Final 5.
As we're wishing Tyler Wright a speedy recovery, she had to withdraw from the contest. As we started off with heat number 2 of the elimination round, we've seen this in some pretty heavy heats over the years. Courtney Conlog versus Joanne De Fay. A pretty close battle where it really just felt like Courtney ran out of time at the end, Dim.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, as she just got that slow start, and Joanne, you could tell she'd had a few days off. She was so fired up, and she just felt the energy right from the get-go.
You can tell Joanne's comfort zone when she's over a reef, when it's a left that just keeps on giving. She can just almost go into autopilot mode, feeling those big sections. Obviously, always throwing a lot of power. She really enjoyed her job today, Rich.
Yeah, absolutely. She put this heat together really well. Got off to a very dominant start and kind of had Courtney chasing, but as we'd expect, Courtney came just, you know, powering back with those big off the tops. And this is a very, very strong comeback wave for Courtney. And then, as you said, just the ocean went a little quiet towards the end of this heat, and just got, well, she got left needing another wave. But hats off to Joanne. She, you know, constructed that heat well, took advantage of the conditions, got her numbers on the board early, and that was the difference.
Joanne De Fay moves on. Solid performance, 7.3, 6.67. And she will have a great time with Stephanie Gilmore in the quarterfinals. Remember, this heat draw is reseeded once again in the quarters on the women's side. And that was the comeback for Conlog, just the 7.13. Just needed more time. Another score like her left, and could have really changed the outcome of that heat. Those two are now 4-4 in all-time heats. That's how close it is. Joanne tends to get the nod when it's a running left, so that theme remained the same, Dim.
Yeah, I know. She's just, she's so strong, and she's so natural too. You know, like she knows exactly what turn to do in every section on her backhand. So it's nice we get to see her on the backhand.
Another cool clash when you talk about the battle of the backhands. The rookie, Gabrielle really pushed Lakey Peterson this afternoon, Rich.
Yeah, that was a really interesting heat, and well, the youngster, she sort of had it all her own way at the start of the heat, and it looked like she was actually going to go on and get the win, but you know, Leaky just came powering back, and this is some of the excellent surfing that we saw from Gabrielle O'Brien, just, you know, really committing to those end turns as we started to see the tide run out. But then Leaky, she came back with some just really strong backhand, fast surfing, and that wave there in particular was the comeback wave. And you can see, you know, we're talking about really strong backhand women surfers here, and Leaky in particular, you know, she just pivots so tightly off the lip. And, you know, that's that California upbringing, I guess, those little beach breaks, finding the little back beaches, and you know, she could do well in this comp.
There's a total energy shift when Peterson got that aggressive 6-8-3, the big two-turn combo. Gabrielle O'Brien, though, even though she's out in the elimination round, that rookie is so much fun to watch. She looked like she was bringing the heat. There's a lot of things she's going to be learning this year. Leaky definitely turned things on her when it mattered the most, getting a spot into the quarters. Leaky's now standing by with Laura.
Lakey, saying there were some nervous moments there, you know, coming off your results in Australia, but it must have felt so amazing to get that critical turn in on that last wave.
Yeah, for sure. It was a hard heat. It's been just a tough week to mentally stay in it and, yeah, stay excited. And the waves were tricky, and Gabby's been on fire. So it's just nice to make it through that heat. I didn't do too well in Australia and haven't been making heats, so it just felt good to get some momentum. I think hindsight, I'm happy I actually got eliminated and had to surf that round just to get a little bit more comfortable out there, and yeah, it felt really good to finally just loosen up in the end.
And we were saying, you know, it's been a big few days here, not many waves on offer, but how have you stayed in the zone?
Yeah, not many waves on offer, but still little waves to kind of get wet every day. And then my husband's here with me, so I'm lucky that I have him to kind of just hang out with and do stuff with. We've been watching a lot of Stranger Things. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful place. I've never been to G-Land either, so just getting to explore the area has been really cool. And yeah, it's nice to get things going again.
Thanks, Leki. Into the next round. Congratulations.
Awesome. And I just want to say happy birthday to Beck, watching back home. Love you.
Happy birthday, Beck.
What a special present to Beck. Heat win for Lakey Peterson, looking very aggressive, checking out the final series already. Love this condensed format. Lakey Peterson has a battle with Tatiana Weston-Webb in quarter 2. How about the veterans heat at the top? Carissa Moore, Sally Fitzgibbons. #1 in the world, Brisa Hennessy, has the Roxy wildcard, Bronte Macaulay. And then Joanne De Fay, Steph Gilmore, rematch of that first match we had last year down at the Rip Curl WSL Finals at Lower Trestles. What is your heat to watch, Dimity?
Oh my gosh, they're all so good. It's, I'd have to go with, I'd love to see Brisa and Bronte, you know. Bronte didn't get to surf today, unfortunately, but I know she was, yeah, she would have loved to have a 35-minute heat out there by herself.
And I like that you brought that one up, because as we know, Rich, wild cards can be devastating for world title runs. That's always the case. And with that reseed happening in the quarters, that's why we're seeing #1 in the world take on the wild card.
Yeah, absolutely. The wild cards, well, they're called wild cards for a reason, because they're wild and we don't know what they're going to do. But, you know, in this case, the wild cards are going to bring some really good, solid surfing, and they're going to push the higher seed. Interesting there. Besides the top quarterfinal, it's a goofy foot versus natural foot matchup, the second, third and fourth quarterfinals there, so that's a point of interest as well. We're going to see a backside attack versus a frontside attack, and that's always interesting.
One of our favorite parts of the day is we talk about the Roxy OMG Land Award. Obviously, we've already had one day of competition. Feels like a long time ago, but we've got to congratulate this goofy foot named Tatiana Weston-Webb for winning the day. We want to see commitment, emotion. It could be a wipeout, but what an incredible day it was for Tati in a hollow cave at G-Land.
Oh, look at the conditions turning on for her. You know, she's been waiting so long to surf a dreamy left-hander, and she just capitalized, getting the barrel of the day.
So happy for Tatiana, winning some cash with that performance on opening day. And now heading into today's nominees, Joanne De Fay, her 7-3 on a really tidy backhand combination versus Sally Fitzgibbons on her 6.0, Rich.
Yeah, this is going to be a tight one. Both two really good rides here, but this was Sally. She sort of started to stretch out in this heat, really committed final turn on both of those waves. So I think we're splitting hairs for this one.
Pretty exciting having those nominations. Dimity, who are you leaning towards on that? Sally 6 or Joanne 7-3?
I can't go past Joanne, you know. Even I was down in the camp here, and all the boys were watching that heat, and when Joanne landed that turn, you know, she got the reverb from the whitewash, and they were just like screaming, you know, how did she not break her ankle or a knee? She just had so much power to push through, and it was exciting.
Check out WSL, at WSL on Instagram for the winner of today, Joanne or Sally. Let us know your opinion as well. Also follow at Roxy as well to find out the champion of the Roxy OMG Land Award. Well, we had a long wait to finally get competition. It was just a few heats, a very quick afternoon. But we know that we're getting into the end of the waiting period, and maybe some fun surf coming around the corner as we bring up the Surfline forecast. Rich, is it game on tomorrow?
I think it's going to be game on tomorrow. I think this swell's going to fill in overnight, and we're going to see some really fun waves over the next couple of days, in fact. And the good news is that the wind is going to be favourable as well. We're going to see it go round to that more southeasterly trade direction. And as we look ahead, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you can see we've got sort of 4 to 6 range, which is going to translate to kind of overhead, head-high waves. But again, that offshore condition, look at it, all the way through. So, and the special thing is normally you have to wait for the wind to swing and go offshore, but we're going to have offshore conditions from first light tomorrow. So that's a plus, and the waves are going to turn up, so an exciting finish.
Once again, thanks for all the viewers hanging in there with us through all those holds. You know, for the last few days, I feel like we're getting down to the best part of the window. Real clean conditions, should be incredibly fun with the elimination round still on deck for the men. That's Felipe versus Yago when that one gets underway. Let's take a moment to learn more about WSL's We Are One Ocean campaign.
So when it rains or whenever the plastic flows down the river, these barriers stop the plastic from going over. The crew from Sungai Watch go and they collect the plastic and they recycle the plastic.
We Are One Ocean is a WSL initiative to inspire the global surf community to protect and conserve our one ocean. At the Quiksilver Roxy Pro G-Land, we're joining forces with Quiksilver, Roxy, Corona, and Shiseido, and partnering with local organizations to give back to the community and preserve the vital ecosystems around the event location.
Across Indonesia, there's a massive problem with plastics. What we're doing is working with the Surf Conservation Partnership and Conservation Indonesia and the surf camps and the park to allow for local recycling. You can take plastic off the beach, use these machines that we've brought, and create useful products. And that creates a model of comprehensive surf ecosystem conservation that can be exported throughout Indonesia and throughout the rest of the world.
So here we are. This is the spot of the tree planting.
Really cool, really honored.
Maybe one day I can even bring my kids here and show them the tree that I planted.
There are so many areas across Indonesia where great surfing and irreplaceable biodiversity overlap. Our vision is for surfing to be a significant force for expanding conservation of large ecosystems all across Indonesia.
At Sungai Watch, we're on a mission to stop plastic from going into the ocean by installing these very simple barriers in as many rivers as possible.
So basically the barrier is going to be floating. All the plastic's going to get stuck on the barrier. It's simple and it brings a lot of results.
We're really excited to be partnering with the WSL Pure and Corona to place 20 barriers throughout South Banyuwangi to protect the wave in the future, to make sure that there's no more plastics coming to G-Land. Plastic pollution is forever spreading, so we need to clean our rivers if we want to clean the ocean.
We got to take care of our environment. We got to take care of our world. So it's awesome to see big brands coming up like WSL, Corona. Because if everybody does a little bit, it's gonna be big.
I came out today to support this initiative that WSL Pure, Corona, and Sungai Watch has put together. It's super exciting for me to work with brands that are committed to our environmental impact and cleaning our oceans and cleaning our rivers. I think it's really important, especially for us as surfers.
So the mission of Sea Trees is incredibly simple. It's to protect, restore, and regenerate coastal ecosystems all around the world. We're a proud partner of the WSL's We Are One Ocean Coalition. The support that we've gotten from Quiksilver and Roxy to be able to launch new projects has been immense. And we're extremely excited to be able to present the work that we're doing throughout Indonesia to the audience that's going to be tuning in to the Quiksilver Roxy Pro at G-Land. We've got multiple Sea Trees projects throughout Indonesia, whether it's planting mangroves in the Papua region or restoring coral reefs in Bali, and everything in between. So surfers can help by getting interested and engaged with the solutions that are at their fingertips.
I'm really happy to be part of it, to be helping and learning, and it's a long process, but we've got to start somewhere.
I think it's really important to show how us surfers also respect and care for the places that we go to, and we want to give back as well.
Find out more information at weareoneocean.org. And I'm just loving the impact of all these activations, not just one, but several that are giving back to a place that we love so much, the ocean, so it stays beautiful for multiple generations. The plastic crisis is pretty obvious when you come to this part of the world, and it's great to really acknowledge that, look at that problem, and really go straight into action, Dimity. I'm loving how that feels.
Yeah, it's cool. It is a problem that can be reversible too, which is really nice.
Yeah, and it's great just to be able to openly talk about those problems and find those solutions. And all these competitors on tour, they're taking their time in the middle of preparing for big events, and all of them put their hand up to participate.
Yeah, well, they're you know, surfers are basically custodians of the ocean. We need to look after it. It's their office, and it's our office. So, you know, we go to so many beautiful and remote locations, and if there's something we can do and give back, then you know, the surfers are the first to put up their hands, and it's like it said, if we all do a little bit, it's going to turn into a lot, and it's important that we really commit to it.
Well, we just finished up the day with the Quiksilver Iconic for a Reason expression session. Time to give away some boards to our winners. Take it away, Laura.
Yes, down here with our winners, Felipe on the beautiful Terry Fitz. How was it, Felipe?
It was awesome. At first I was scared to ride it because it's big, it's thick, and it's heavy. And it's super low tidal there. I was like, oh, it's going to be sketchy to ride on this wave. It's going super fast. But it ended up going faster than the wave, and yeah, it worked out really good. I loved it.
Any room in the ball cover for this bad boy?
Hell yes, hell yes. There's always room.
And is it going to go on the wall? Are you going to try ride it at Ulus or anywhere else around the world?
I'll just put it on the wall for now, and then maybe when it's, you know, big lowers or something like that, or maybe back home in Brazil. I don't know. We'll see.
Absolutely amazing. The Terry Fitz and Carissa Moore over here on the Simon Anderson, absolutely shredding Dales. How was it?
Oh, it was so much fun. I have never ridden one of his shapes before, and like I don't really ride anything other than Matt most of the time, so it was cool to mix things up. And obviously all of the shapers are legends and like part of history of our sport, so it was really cool just to like paddle out with, you know, my peers and have a really good time and learn a little bit and reconnect with the roots.
Absolutely amazing, guys. Oh, well, hide them, because I know Dimity wants to steal them both. And, yeah, get them home nice and safe. Dimity, we might have to get the decks down here for another little party.
Yep,
Joking.
they're ready to go.
What a cool moment. And how fun is that? Man. Not only winning on those boards, but they get to take them home. That's that classic Simon Anderson thruster that was introduced back in '81, working in all conditions that changed everything. And Terry Fitz, what a legend. What something that he rode probably back in 1976 in this region. A lot of surfers wanted to be a part of that heat. It's definitely one of the favorites to watch. Dimity, is there going to be some bartering going on? Are you going to be able to get one of those boards to take home?
I don't know about that. And the surfers, there wasn't enough boards for the number of surfers. They all wanted to be in that heat. And you can see why, because those boards are just artwork.
Heck. Well, Rich, if you could pick one, which one would you take home?
Well, I've already got an MR, so yeah, maybe the Simon Anderson or that Terry Fitz one is pretty special. I just love that it had the airbrush on the bottom as well. That's a bit of a trademark of Terry's board. So yes, there's some classics in there for sure.
So classic. It's time on the Corona Post Show for the Daily Top 5. Coming in at number 5 on the list, a surfer from Santa Ana, California, put herself in a position to compete after what was kind of a slow start to the matchup against Joanne De Fay. This was the big comeback wave for Courtney, getting a 7-1-3 dim.
Yeah, and this was so exciting. It was part of that heat where, you know, we've had 3 or 4 days off in a row and everyone was just itching to see surfing again, and everyone loved this. It was like, the heat is on now.
Pretty special to see that backhand in motion as we go to number 4 on the top 5, Lakey Peterson. Big comeback to win this heat, Rich.
Yeah, it was great to see Leaky just absorb that pressure and then just come out firing on this particular wave and that final turn there, possibly the turn of the day. And Leaky with that kind of trademark backhand hook right there, just so pivotal. Just gets so tight in the pocket, and she sort of found it after that one wave, and then she started to build. You could see the confidence just oozing. And it was a real high-pressure situation. She came out on top.
Number 3 on the top 5, the injury replacement wild card for Caroline Marks. The veteran Sally Fitzgibbons shuts things down this afternoon.
Yeah, it's so cool, and just her backhand's so tight. I love the way she can just go back to back and upside down. So she's going to be a real threat this week. So.
Got her best wave on her last wave. Already had the victory at that stage as she is running right into the quarters against Carissa. Number 2 on the top 5, the 2-turn combo from Joanne De Fay.
Yeah, it was a very clinical performance in that Joanne just, you know, got the best waves of the start of that heat, found these little corners, and that just ran down the reef, and Joanne just really precise style of surfing here. You know, sort of born and bred off that Reunion Island St. Lou break. You can just see that she's going to be a threat on the back end here all week.
So solid. She's had quarterfinals all year. She's ready to break that quarter streak and get a bit further in the event. Number one on our top 5 of the day was honoring so many heroes, so many amazing boards that are part of G-Land history as well. The Quiksilver Iconic for a Reason expression session was definitely a treat to finish off the day with.
Yeah, it's so cool, and you know, we haven't seen these surfers on boards like this in such a long time, and it was just such a treat to watch them surf with a different style and different approach.
Yeah, really fun to see them having to change their stance on some of these bigger boards. Felipe said he was a little worried about the weight, you know, with this tight turnaround to the shallow reef, but he managed quite well, Rich.
Yeah, he did, and on such a big board compared to what he'd be used to. That was the barrel from Kaio. I think out of all the boards, you know, Kaio probably controlled his the best and you know, really dominated the board and got it turning true to the rail. But, you know, they were all just channeling and feeling the board, and it's not an easy thing to do to work something out like that so quick. And the other thing too, none of these boards have tail pads, and they all normally you would be used to riding a tail pad. So a couple of adjustments needed to be made, but this one here, there was shades of TF in this for sure.
Ah, that looks so cool. I feel like Felipe got more comfort throughout this heat.
Yeah, look at him dancing on the board, just moving up and down, up to get speed, back onto the tail to rip into big turns, and then, you know, it's just such a, yeah, he gets, yeah, he's looking iconic on the Terry Fitz.
And nice little flow to ride his way all the way to the inside, winning these boards to take home with them. And
where we go?
Can't wait to see them ride it again. Job well done to Felipe and Chris Zamora. They didn't have to surf heats today in the Championship Tour event. They're already set up in the next round. Felipe Toledo does have a wild card named Yago Dora when we do get back underway. Rich, are you thinking world number 1's going to have his hands full when we get the contest back on?
It's definitely going to be a serious heat for him. And, well, we know what Yago's capable of. He's actually, you know, one of the guys that belongs on tour. So some of his performances last year in particular in Australia were mind-blowing on some of those left-handers. My mind's kind of going back to Rottnest Island. So, you know, I feel like, you know, he was really in tune on the opening day. Yago had some great rides, so I think Felipe is going to have his hands full there.
And yes, that foot injury that kept him sidelined looked in the free surf that he's feeling better and better each and every day that he's putting it in the water. Another heat on the men's side that we're looking forward to, Jim. Kolohe Andino, Nat Young, all California battle. How's that one going to play out?
Oh, I can't wait to watch that. And they've just been vibing every day, hanging out here at the camp. And, you know, they're so competitive in and out of the water. That's going to be an exciting heat.
Pretty exciting. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll leave you with the highlights and join us first thing tomorrow morning for the call. Take care.
It's a good day.
Banyuwangi, Indonesia. Great to be back here in the jungle, in the national park, as our competitors get set to hit G-Land once again.
We're going to have this women's elimination round in the water, and then we have the expression session.
I'm finally breathing, I feel the fresh air.
Joanne De Fay, she's found a bit of a corner here. Nice little swoop off the top.
Nice and crisp, and the second.
If life is a beach, I'll see you out there. Whoa, sending my toes, you know I don't care.
Sending plenty of spray off the rail.
Life's great, nothing gets better than this. All the best things keep happening.
Whole building started to shake then.
It's Sally Fitzgibbons, jams it vertically.
It's a good day. Whoa, it's a good morning.
World number 4, Isabella Nichols.
Got the sun in my face. Whoa, it's a beautiful moment. So I think I'll dive right in. It's a perfect.
Lakey Peterson from Santa Barbara, California, float to start. Deeper off the bottom, crushes a big section. Gabrielle O'Brien's got an answer. Nice open wall, second turn. She's got that solid jam, vertical climb, and she stays on her feet.
My car has hit my favorite place. It's a good day.
It'll be the Quiksilver Icons of Surf expression session.
Steph Gilmore got the Jerry Lopez in your hot little hands.
Well, it looks like Kaio.
Sam Egan.
Yes, Sam Egan.
It's a beautiful morning to say hello. I got the sunshine in a bottle. I'm not worried about tomorrow. Sitting under orange trees.
We see coming out of the barrel, Kaio.
I can walk on water.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.